Bonjour, track and field fans. That doesn't get any more natural
Never
anytime I say it, or does it get old?
No.
We are here, the morning show in Paris for day 3 of the big games here in Paris. We've got Mitch Dyer, the founder of Straight At It. We've got Eric Jenkins, 2-time NCAA champion, 7-year pro, and then me, the host of Getting Chick podcast. Shoot us a follow, please. And we are so excited to give you guys the coverage here. We had such an incredible morning already, right? But yesterday, just to give a couple highlights, right? We covered this on the Torch Talk show. Go check it out if you haven't already. And we're here. I also should say we're powered by Asics. We've got our Olipop. We're all ready to go. Yesterday, coming off a high of our Torch Talk, we broke down the 4x4 mixed relay. Caitlin on our crew here went a little viral with a Michael Johnson retweet breaking down, just maybe the nuances to some technicalities. We also saw Jasmine Moore, the first American to medal in the triple jump for the bronze. Ryan Krauser won his 3rd straight gold medal. We had an incredible day yesterday, but this morning is where we saw also some heat on the track. Mitch, you were down there. Give us some highlights. We started with the women's steeple.
Yeah, it's all a bit of a blur sometimes when you're coming back and forth. But yeah, women's steeple top 5 were the ones that rolled through. And obviously that's an event that doesn't have repêchage, so they will not be finding their way back to the juge. But no, I mean, it was quick. I mean, it talks to the depth of women's steeplechasing in this country. Obviously, for the Americans, Courtney Wayment makes her way through in heat number 1, as you can see here. But yeah, she looked really comfortable. Looked, she had to battle it out over the later stages. I think there was maybe 7 or 6 in it for as long as possible. I think until the last 400. But yeah, a great reward for her. But to be running 9:10, in the heats of the women's steeplechase, I don't think that would have happened too many Olympics, if any. I think Tokyo might have been quick, but yeah, they were not messing about. It was hot on the track. It was hot temperature-wise, so they did a really good job to push through.
Yeah, I thought coming out of Heat 1, Courtney looked fantastic. I thought she ran really well. Looked really strong for it being such a fast race. Like 9:10 is like that takes a hard effort. I thought she looked I think she looked probably slightly better in just at least just for me than Val Constein in that second heat. Me and Mac were watching it here, and we were kind of get like that last 75 meters, still pretty quick. Yeah, I think they ended up running about 9:15 for that second heat, and so still was an honest race. But like that last 75 meters, it really looked like, I think she's like they're right on her. It looked like she might not have been able to hold on for 5th, but she was able to do it, able to make it through. So we got 2 out of 3 Americans, which at this level, still really good. Still really good.
100%. And was like that conversation that we had so much in Eugene about this now being the changing of the guard a little bit in terms of women's steeplechasing, obviously, without Emma Coburn, and she'll come back and all that sort of stuff. But it was a question of how competitive could maybe US women's steeplechasing be, and I think they've just gone and proved it. Like, it was so quick at the trials to back it up with a 9:10 and a 9:16 respectively. There's a lot to like about that this morning.
So much to like, and I think exactly that. We're seeing the changing of the guards. We're seeing people get that world stage experience here. Just between the 2 Americans there, what do you think? I'm just curious, like going through the heats here, do you think it played to maybe Courtney's advantage to have to run a little bit faster, get experience on the feet here, and maybe someone that hasn't had, that full experience? Or do you think, maybe playing it easier is the safer bet?
Yeah, I think because you want to make it through, and that's the number 1 priority, obviously. But if you could do it slower, you would rather do it slower, I think. I think it's great that you get race tempo and, you do have a pickup in speed and all that sort of stuff. But then it's hard because you're going to have to back up. So in your head, you're playing this game of, I've had to push a 9:10 to make it, whereas the other heat, tactics are different, but they've run 9:16. Could be something to be said about it being a consistent pace and being dragged through 9:10 versus ramping it up over the final kilometre and running 9:16. maybe that helps. But yeah, I mean, Courtney Wayment should go in with every ounce of confidence that she can compete really, really ferociously in the final. I think it definitely benefited her, and yep, she had to duke it out a little bit late, but to be able to nudge forward and get through to a final, I think she'll take a lot from that for sure.
Right.
Yeah, I think Courtney, like you said, like there's a big difference between a steady 9-10 and a 9-15, 9-16 with it being a hard last K or so. And you have to just take a lot out of how the athlete looks. Like Courtney just looked a bit stronger in the last 50 meters of the race than the Olympic trials champion Val Constine, who was, yes, in a slow race. It's not much slower. It's still very quick, still a hard race, but I just, she didn't look quite as fresh in the last little bit. But again, it's like this is the opening round. We've seen so many athletes. Like, this is the thing. There have been so many athletes that look just like slightly rusty. Like the sprinters look rusty. Like we were like we'll talk about it in a sec, but we were just watching the 110 hurdles for men, and besides Grant Holloway, everyone is just looking slightly rusty. Whether that's from travel, like long seat, like who knows what it is. It's the Olympics. It's incredibly nerve-wracking, and you walk into that stadium and it's, you're in awe. But I think you saw a little bit of it today, maybe with just people are looking. It's not looking as sharp, and you've got these prelims to sharpen up a bit, and so we'll see how everyone looks in the finals.
It's been an interesting thing in the mix zone, being able to talk to them, and like a question that comes up a lot, at least from me and the Australian journalists, I'm sure it comes across globally, is like, if you are a 2-time Olympian and this is your second one from Tokyo, like how are you finding this vast difference? Because really it's kind of like your first Olympic experience, right? There was no crowds in Tokyo. You didn't have this atmosphere, and like you guys will see it tonight. The second a French person does anything or touches anything, it is 80,000 people on their feet, raucous. Like, you combine that with your own pressure, you combine that with maybe pressure you feel from your country, and it's like, oh shit, I'm in the moment now. Whereas Tokyo, it was hard in its own regard, but there was no one there. So you're facing this atmosphere now that's completely different to something you've ever been used to. So I do wonder whether that plays into the rustiness of like needing that first round, right? Yeah. And that's why that's something I realized today, maybe with repêchage, is that you do get through that nerves of a first round, and it's hard because you have to back up so quickly. But that first race is done. Yeah. You've lived that moment now. If you have the small cues, you're not coming back. So now you might see athletes actually progress through this repêchage because they've got rid of that first race nerves. Yeah. And maybe that can mean they can progress forward from there. So it's interesting, like the big hitters that you aren't expecting to be maybe a little off are a little off. So,
but I'm surprised that it's the Americans, just because our whole trial system is set up to curate this, is to curate who's ready now, who can perform under pressure, who can be in that pressure cooker, who can go through all of the rounds and still come out on top. And especially being a stadium like Hayward Field, where the trials, are typically located, and be able to feel the energy of the crowd and use that. I do think, to your point, it could be, this is really the first Olympic Games. I mean, unless you've competed at games prior to this, other than Tokyo, you haven't had that full pressure experience of being, I think, in the spotlight.
I wonder, and I'm only thinking about this live now, but Eric, you're the only one who has raced the trials. So, to get yourself up for those US trials, I'm imagining takes a lot. Like, it's a lot of expectation and pressure management to try and make the team. So do you think that plays into it at all, where it's like, wow, I've really had to peak only just a month ago, and now I'm back here trying to peak again?
100%. Like, there's such a difference. There's only a few athletes that are looking at something that's, because for most people, it takes being at 100% to make this team. And it's such an emotional high just to be at the trials, whether you do well or bad. like it's a big come down. So to then be able to, you know, really get back up for this race is definitely hard. I think something that also plays a big factor for the Americans is that, like, there is, no matter how fast you run, if you haven't, these international races against the rest of the world, there's such a difference to it than just racing against Americans, and whether it's in the NCAA system or doing these just like time trials, get the standard races. There is a huge difference in all this stuff, you know, in the international races, at least for me in the distance side, it was more physical. It's faster. People are more aggressive. They're not maybe giving you leeway like you would get in an NCAA race or something like that. So there is, and for a lot of these people, even if you have a lot of that international experience, you're not really seeing that a whole lot before the trials. For most people aren't really going over to and doing a whole European circuit and racing against the international field before coming back to the trials. So it's just it's something that's a lot different for a lot of these athletes, and like, you really can sharpen up through the rounds. Like someone who, like, I always think about a guy like Nick Simmons.
Yeah.
Like Nick Simmons would literally come into whether it was the U.S. trials, whether it was a world championships, like he could come in rusty and just actually get remarkably better and better racing each round of that 800 meters. So you can sharpen up. And like you said, there is such a nerve-wracking where you're like, okay, like here I am at the Olympics. And then you it's like kind of getting punched in the face that first round of the prelims. And then you're like, okay, this is what it's like. I'm here now. I got that out of my system, and I'm going to race better from here. So even though I do think there are athletes that are just not quite looking as sharp and as polished as we've seen them earlier on in the year, I think they'll find their legs again and bring that back out as the meet progresses.
Yeah. I think the Olympic Games are for the gamers. That's really it. I mean, what's the difference between the Olympics versus a World Championships? I mean, I think we've said it here, but this is a chance to get a medal, to represent your country. There's so much glory and honor in that. We see a lot of athletes, I think, feel the pressure maybe finally of something beyond them and beyond their own ambitions, and to go home and be the talk of not just the town, but the country and the world, be invited to probably do a lot of, PR and today's shows. Your career really skyrockets, right? Like here, maybe versus a world championship over anything. I was super happy though to see someone like Courtney Wayment, who, wasn't maybe in everyone's predictions as Val was for the trials, not just feel lucky to be here. I think that's what I liked from her prelim. You could see someone like Val maybe peaking twice, right? She, or maybe not peaking twice, I should say, like running through the trials, hoping and saying, I'm going to probably be at the Olympics. But someone like Courtney, I'm sure, maybe did peak a little bit for the trials just to be able to get here. And I love that we're still seeing her get after it. Someone else that I think is a total gamer is Gabby from the women's 200 meter. We saw, I think, her whole trajectory of starting her season off not on a hot note, not letting that get to her, not letting the people in the comments, bully her into thinking she's, not fit or not equipped this year. The 200s, I think were, some surprises. We had a couple pullouts there. What did you see there on the track?
Yeah, well, I was bogged down in the mixed zone, so I really didn't get to see too much of it. But I mean, Gabby Thomas is she is legit. I mean, that's not fucking news. No one's like listening to that being like, really, Gabby Thomas. But it's encouraging. Like the confidence that you get from winning heats, and just being at the front is huge. Maybe not for someone who's the favorite, but I still think it's a validating thing to be like, all right, I'm here. We've been talking about this rust. It's like, I'm not rusty. I'm here. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to rip. Gets through cleanly. Like, makes it look so easy to win a heat. So, if you're a Gabby Thomas fan and Americans, you would have been really delighted with what you saw. out there this morning. 200s are hard, the rounds are hard, but she made it look easy.
Is the 200? Is the semi in the final tomorrow?
No, so they've got
they got
the juge tomorrow.
Oh, it's judge time tomorrow.
So I think it's juge o'clock.
Because I was gonna say,
and then it's the semi.
like Julien Alfred, like I felt there really should have been more time in between the 100 and the 200.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, you don't think one night's enough?
I'm like, she got
crazy.
I think I saw that, she got 2 hours of sleep.
Right.
Not enough.
Oh.
Not enough.
And why was that though? What she had to go through?
Well, I mean, there's the high of winning. I haven't done it myself, right?
Can imagine it's good though.
You're the closest though.
I
You're the
can
closest.
imagine it's sick to win a gold medal for the first medal ever for your country.
Pretty good.
And then you're like, hey, like get some sleep. You got the 200 mile. Like, no.
I'm gonna party probably.
I think
My reality are finally better than
Yeah.
dreams.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say
I'm
here.
having a tough time falling asleep for whatever reason. I just think I'm not ready to watch the women's
Let alone compete.
I'm sure now. I know it's like, oh, we've got to like the 4x1. Like, but I'm like, yeah, I know, but still, give her a
very
day.
different.
Yeah, give her a day.
Yeah.
I wonder if that changes because Shericka Jackson out, but still like Gabby Thomas, the favorite. But now I wonder if Gabby's now like, okay, like Shericka's out, but like Julien Alfred is now on
a tear.
Yeah. Like she's, again, we've talked about before, but like when you win, you're just running with a different mindset that almost always is better than coming in a little bit, tentative and nervous and feeling like you have to perform.
Yeah.
When you've just won a gold medal, the first ever for your country, like that video we saw of St. Lucia watching her race, like chills, like that's genuinely like, that's what the Olympics is about. Like you see that the watching, not just it's not just the first medal for their country. Like you got a gold medal in the 100 meters, like the best event. Honestly, like one of the best events in the games, period. The fastest person on the planet. Like that is so exciting. And you watch everyone going nuts in such a small island country. That's amazing.
Yeah.
But I do wonder now if Gabby's like, okay, like she's clearly going to be the one that I got to watch out for and have to stay on my guard.
Yeah, 100%. It's, I mean, geez, the Jamaicans must be a bit heartbroken.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I mean, it's been an awful, hard, 12 hours, 16 hours. They're walking around thinking like, man, we got a real shot in this 1 and 2. Like we've had to make adjustments, make changes, all that sort of stuff. And now the two GOATs are out, sadly. Have a look at this. Sorry, quickly. This is St. Lucia going absolutely off its fucking rocket. Like that's not like one pub in one country going nuts. This is a country celebrating an Olympic gold medal.
Imagine that's all for one person.
That's
like
crazy.
that's all for you.
And she's supposed to sleep.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Much?
Yeah.
I've been getting a lot of messages.
Supposed to get some Z's. Yeah, her
you see
phone.
my country hasn't slept. How the fuck am I going to sleep? What the hell are you talking about? Yeah, I mean...
Well, and that's why I was saying, because let's say the race was tomorrow, like the semi and final, like you're going on because
so much media,
so much stuff. Like now it's at least you can have a day in between to recover.
Yeah.
Hopefully, get a little bit of rest and then come back for the next day.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
because I was thinking if it's tomorrow, then she will be feeling that.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
it does take a toll on you.
Well,
Yeah.
and from maybe your experience, Eric, what is it like taxing wise with the drug testing and having to wait around? Is that something when you have to do that post meet? I mean, are you able to get recovery in? Is it pretty strict? What does that process look like?
I mean, it's definitely strict. It was interesting because Sha'Carri and TT missed the press conference yesterday due to drug testing, which it seems like those little things. It's like I would have thought that they would have that ironed out. At come the Olympic Games,
You don't avoid missing a press
You don't
conference.
avoid missing a press conference, and like they said, oh yeah, there's always, because this isn't new, there's always drug testing after every single final. There's always a press conference.
Yeah.
It sucks because this is an event that everyone wants to hear from the favorites, these are not just American, sports stars. These are Sha'Carri's a global name at this point, and for her to miss the press conference because of drug testing, when you can just bring her in, have her talk. The person who's doing the drug testing is sitting there watching you.
Yeah.
It's just to me, I'm like, that's someone dropped the ball on that.
Yeah, big time.
Because
Because that wouldn't happen in any other global sport major championship.
that would
Right.
never
Can you
happen.
imagine
Yeah.
World Cup soccer?
Yeah.
Messi's taking a piss test.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
they're like, hey,
They'd be in the bathroom,
He's
like-
not coming. Like, the rest of the Argentina team will be here, but he's not coming.
They're like, okay, well, how about
Yeah.
we just get none of the rest of the Argentina
Yeah.
team and
And we'll
wait for
wait.
Messi?
We'll wait for that
Yeah,
guy. How
yeah.
about that?
We'll wait till he's hydrated
Yeah.
and can piss,
Yeah.
and then we'll
We'll
bring him
talk
down
to
here.
Camera
Yeah.
crews at the bathroom door,
Yeah.
waiting.
Like, to Eric's point, it's right. Like, they've got the drug tester has to see you. Like, they have to see you. You can't leave their site. Obviously, completely understand that. But you could very easily be flexible, and you're watching Sha'Carri and TT like a hawk. They're not going
Yeah.
anywhere. And then when it gets to that time, they're not talking and be like, all right, we're going to go do this test. I know there's other protocols to it, and I understand that. But
Yeah.
surely there was a way to be able to make it work, because for everyone who wants to hear from them, Sha'Carri particularly,
There's a
it's
huge
like, that's what I want to see.
exact. Yeah, sorry to cut you off, but like
No, no.
there seems to be a protocol issue at this meet.
Yeah.
And it's changing.
It's like what's going on? Okay,
Who do we need to
It's
talk
the
to?
heat sheet guys.
Like
At it again.
it's
those
just like
guys.
They're
the-
everywhere.
because
Got their
Clowns.
fingers and everything.
when you really like the fact that Shelly-Ann and Sha'Carri weren't allowed on the bus, for whatever reason.
they weren't allowed on the bus
They weren't allowed in because they weren't on
because
a
they
bus.
weren't
Okay,
on the
so
bus.
yeah.
But similar, same thing.
But they tried to get in.
But they had not been on the bus in prior entrances and had no issue.
There,
I don't know.
That's what
That is right.
Shelly-Ann
Okay. Right. Okay.
told me personally.
and so, rumor has it Sha'Carri didn't get to warm up for that semi.
Yeah.
Which I mean, that's
crazy.
insane.
That is
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Like that,
And
is-
her nerves, like
all. It really, as a distance runner, you go, I don't really know what that, because if you don't warm up for a race, you're not running the race.
It's not happening.
Like if you can you imagine if Sha'Carri was just like, hey, I'm not gonna run this race.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I didn't warm up for the semi. Because imagine, let's say she's
Imagine
not
the
able to, if
explanation,
she's
dude.
not able to
Yeah.
warm up for the semi, and then she goes and doesn't qualify.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's not able to then say like, look, like I would have qualified, I wasn't
I
able to
couldn't
warm up.
Right.
Like they're like, no,
Yeah.
we don't
Luck.
accept. We don't.
Yeah.
What do you mean you weren't able to warm
Yeah.
up?
Yeah.
It's the Olympics. Like you were able. What you didn't. You didn't time it
bring your
right.
fire?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
she should have protested the race with
Yeah.
Shelly, and then the Olympics would have been like, gee, like your two biggest
Yeah.
stars in one of the biggest events
Yeah.
of the whole Olympic Games were like, we're not doing it because you guys dropped the ball and fucked up.
Could you imagine?
Yeah,
that headline?
but-
Like, that would be absolutely insane.
Well,
Yeah.
I think
That'd be the worst thing that could happen.
That's
I
a
think
good
they
word.
should have, but
Olympic
think of the
Games.
dynamic between the two. You have someone who's been to how many Olympics like Shelly, and then you
5.
have 5, and then you have Sha'Carri, who this is her first Olympics. Would I love to have seen them do that?
Oh
I
no,
think-
I'm not saying that she should have done it, and it's
Right.
like, look, she got a
Make
silver
a
medal.
stand.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Make
no,
a
like she
stand.
obviously like she did the right thing. I'm saying
right.
if you want to send a message to the Olympics,
to those guys with the guns
And then-
outside
and
the
that's
stadium.
That's how you send the message.
and then afterwards
Tell
they
it.
didn't even let her do the press con. Like they,
yeah, so they've gone. First of all, you're not warming up.
you're not warming up.
First of all, I know you're at the gates.
They don't
but
want her
you
seen.
You can go around the entrance like the rest of them. Second of all,
You're
good
like,
luck
buy a
getting
ticket
ready.
and get in.
Good luck getting ready. 'cause it
She's
ain't
at the
happening.
ticket booth.
Yeah.
Third of all,
Yeah.
I know this is a big moment, but you need to come pissed.
Yeah.
And you're not coming back to the press conference, and I'm sorry, I know you want to live this out, but it's not happening.
No, it's
That's
there's
pretty, that is
it's
pretty
weird.
wild that it's consistently happened to her.
You can see this at a different meet, right? Like.
and you're like,
And you're
okay,
like,
Yeah.
yeah,
I didn't
well,
have the organization.
yeah.
that's
It's
fine.
like a new meet. They're getting
like,
their feet under them. Like
Right.
they're not
The
used to this
Olympics-
stuff.
Olympic
At the Olympic Games
Yeah.
with Sha'Carri,
yeah.
all this, and Shelly, like all this stuff's going on. It's wild to me.
Yeah.
Do we think there's a chance that's what Shelly did because she did not start and leave? Do we think, 'cause there's rumors she had a hamstring issue? I can imagine a warm up for sprints is crucial to be able to get in, especially if you're battling some sort of hamstring injury. She said this is her last games, not her last season. So do we think that was on her mind?
Of course. I mean,
would have to
it would
be.
have to be. Also, like,
Yeah.
Shelly's no spring chicken when it comes to sprinting. I mean, it's amazing that she's been able to have the longevity
20
that she
years
has.
in sprinting
How old is
is-
she?
37.
She's 37 in an event that is your peak is
that
like
old hag.
that old hag. Your peak is like 20.
26?
It's like younger. I think for
Really?
sprinting,
Which
it's
is
like up to like
incredibly
24.
impressive.
That's what I mean. It's so
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
So you can't understate how impressive it is that
Wow.
she's been able to be so successful for so long, and then you deny her the chance to warm up. They're like, it's like, I need even extra time to warm up.
Yeah.
Not just no warm up.
Right.
Because let's say she didn't warm up, you're like, well, now my career is done.
That'd be a different
Yeah,
statement
thanks for that.
than what
Yeah.
she gave. And she gave such a heartfelt statement. I mean, I love that she did that. I mean, we didn't get a ton of answers, but at least we're getting it from, her mouth of she gave a heartfelt statement, especially to the Jamaican fans, just saying that she would have been on that line type of thing if she could have, and her heart's there. So we won't unfortunately get to see her. We saw the 200, the Jamaicans are unfortunately not being able to start. It's going to be rough, but moving on over after that, we saw the men's 110 meter hurdles. Grant Holloway, as we know, was just a force to reckon with, but we did see, as Eric said, some, rusty other starts out on there. What did that look like for you at the stadium?
Yeah, I mean, Grant is just head and shoulders above. So smooth, so in control, didn't get out of second gear, just did what he had to do. The interesting one is Freddie.
Yeah.
And like we're talking
He played
about,
the game.
This is the perfect use of the
Exactly
repechage.
what we like. I
Should be
feel like
studied.
Yeah.
I feel like we've been waiting for this to be slightly validated in our opinion of like, why don't you just jog it in if you think you're not going to get there? And kudos to Freddie. He's been like, hey, I'm not feeling it. Like I've had a twinge in whatever it was, hamstring, calf, whatever the injury was. Why would I bother trying to flog myself to maybe get a top 3 and push it too hard when, like, fair enough too. Like if you're Freddie Crittenden and you've run 12.9, I'm probably backing in and I'm getting to a repechage and making it through. I'm winning a repechage. That's fine.
I think this is actually
really smart.
It's quite possibly the best use of the repechage because
Easily.
doesn't he also still get a day off before because was there 2 days like Grant Holloway now is 2 days before his next race, or does he have one? Because
he has tomorrow off and then
he
has the semi. I think.
and then does he have is the final the next day after that, or is there one more day off?
I'm actually not
Or
100%
the same
sure.
day.
Or
Let me look.
so
Freddie
Freddie
has
has
a
a
day
day
off
off
before the repechage.
still
Yeah.
with the
Genius.
repechage. So it's like
Genius.
and this is so much of a different
Yeah.
event than the 15, right?
Yeah.
Like doing another 110 hurdles isn't like, oh man, like this is a big disadvantage for me. I think it's and like the repechage is going to be weaker than I would presume his heat.
Yes,
So
correct.
it's like, look, let's say he wasn't even feeling slightly banged up.
Yeah.
It's just a good idea to be like, look, why not take an easier heat tomorrow?
Yeah.
And I've still got recovery time. It just makes sense to me to be in that heat.
No, I thought it was super smart.
Especially if
Yeah.
he does have something bothering him, then of course do that.
Because that's the thing, like it was top 3 through the heats, so
Yeah.
it's not like it was just 1 or 2, and then like a superstar was gonna get left out. Like
Yeah.
every, potential finalist is through. So Freddie can roll in and be like, all right, so I jogged, I ran 18 point, easy. My body didn't quite feel right. I've got a full day to ice, recover, sleep, do everything I possibly can. Come back, knock the repechage out of the park, and then continue on my merry way, hopefully through to the final. So, I mean, it was brilliant. I feel like I had a lot of people text me because maybe even some people calling the races weren't fully sure what was going on. Like, why would Freddie be doing making this move,
Yeah.
Mac. Like, I'm not sure if it was similar for you listening.
Yeah,
but-
I mean, we saw it at the U.S. trials, right? That was kind of the first time, and it wasn't a repechage round. It was just that there weren't enough athletes to eliminate anyone out of the qualification or out of the preliminaries, right? So it was just, what's going on? We can see
you're
Kyle
in
in the
it.
background.
Wave Kyle.
Hi, Kyle. Yeah, but we saw a
getting the
version of this
guitar.
at the U.S. trials in the hurdles with
Yeah.
Nia,
Yes.
where she was, everyone
Walked
is
it in.
qualified into the next round. Let's just jog through because I
That's
didn't
right.
have a perfect
Yeah,
warm
she
up.
ran like a 20 point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we think the hurdles is the optimal event to do this in? I suppose it depends on schedule, right? Because that's going to play into the factor. But I mean, do you think this is
You know what
the
the
event to do it?
optimal event to do it in is the other event that was on this morning. We won't touch on it yet. We'll finish this. But the 400-meter hurdles. Like,
Yeah.
You ain't feeling it in a 400-meter hurdles. I reckon it's back off because the repechage seems so tough for a 400-meter hurdler. Like, that is a brutal event to come back and run an extra round for. That is arguably one of the hardest to come back and run an extra round for. We'll talk about them in a moment, but that is probably the one where I think I'm going to shut this down if I don't think I'm going to get there. But kudos to Freddie, very intelligent. But Grant, I mean,
he looked so much
just
better than everyone else out there by
ridiculous.
far. It was one of those things where you're just, and he is. It's been talked about time and time. Like, he is such a strong favorite in this event. Then everyone's like, "Oh man, it's his to lose." But then you see him out there running. I think he ran 13 flat.
Yeah.
Yeah, 13:01.
And like the other guy, like he looked great, and everyone else really didn't look. I will say they didn't look good at all.
Yeah, I would say almost everyone else ran
Like 13.3.
Yeah, 13.3, 13.2. Like
what?
Daniel Roberts, who's usually like kind of a sure bet to get all the way, like to look clean all the way through, didn't look fantastic. Freddie, who's up there in the favorites now after the U.S. trials, he jogged it in.
Yeah.
But yeah, Grant was definitely showing why he is the absolute heavy favorite.
Yeah.
And I think that he's going, I have a day or two of rest before my next round. Let's give it a go. Like let's run my actual race. And he is the most prepared for an all-out effort because he just ran, damn near an all-out effort.
Yeah.
Oh, his start too. I mean, I was just hearing it, like, especially with the announcers. I mean, they're talking about what a great start it was. I think we're seeing him just polished. He's polished right now. He's getting out hard. He's running his race. But yeah, I think works. If that wasn't a good preview to what we're going to see, I don't know what would be.
My favorite thing about Grant is he always talks about like the haters, like silencing the haters, and you see on the photo, like he's shushing them, and we're always like, who are these haters? Like, where are they? Are they on the are they on the internet, or is it us?
They're not here.
Who is it? Who's saying he's not going to
But
win?
I want to see
Yeah.
him run well. So yeah, Grant, you're wasting all of it in the prelims, buddy.
Yeah.
Let's see what you
Yeah.
got in the finals.
yeah, let's hate.
Yeah.
Hated on him.
Look, he didn't look that good. no.
He gets
looks great.
he gets away from the
looks
field
good.
so quickly, so early. Like, I wonder, like he doesn't have anyone to chase down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like he is the one that everyone's able to target off of. Like it does have to be tough sometimes. It's like in a distance race. Like
Yeah.
it's easier to kick when you've got someone in front of you. It's
Right.
easier to
Your reference point.
Yes, it's easier to be able to be pulled along a bit. He's got none of that.
Yeah.
So it really does seem to be like we're talking about who's going to be second and third. It's hard to really talk about. Like the Chinese guy looked good.
Yeah.
That's about all. Like, honestly, no one really looked good besides Grant today. I'm excited to watch Freddie tomorrow, see how he looks, and
Yeah.
2 days.
He's got
Two
the day
days.
off.
2 days to see.
Day off.
Yeah.
Well,
Gets a day off.
And
Makes
as
it
we
even
saw,
smarter.
Yeah, so like where were the people planning this event for Julien Alfred in the 100, 200?
yeah, I think just saddle up. She's got a rally. Even more impressive for her. But something about Grant, right? Him and Sydney. So the back-to-back events here. They're both team captains, right? Of USA track. I don't know Field
been
has
a
their
hard
own.
pick.
I was gonna say, are they playing just favorites?
Yeah.
Like, okay,
What are their leadership qualities?
here are the two people that we think are gonna win gold
Yeah.
medals.
Right.
Do you
Let's
want to be
just get to
captain?
yeah.
They're like, what do I have to do? Absolutely nothing. Yeah.
I want to
We'll
know
just
what
call you
goes
captain.
into that selection process.
Do they have to give it? Is there like any sort of speech? You know, like is there a? Do you have to give a captain speech? Do you have to give? Do you have
Do
to
you
pump
rev them
up
up
the
every morning? Yeah.
Here we go. What's that?
Do you give an end of day
Help us
speech?
out,
Do
man.
you think we're doing like town halls?
Yeah.
And, you know,
Yeah.
like straight up debates with each other?
That would be great.
That's what
With
you-
the whole,
Yeah.
whole
Right.
USATF staff and all the athletes.
That would
Right.
be good. Like if they're like, "Hey, do you want to be team captain?" And you're like, "Yeah, I do want to be team captain, but I want to make a lot of speeches."
Yeah.
And they're like, "No."
Yeah.
No,
silent
it's
role.
more of just
Yeah.
like a.
Yeah.
You don't have to do anything, and you're like, no, I want to do a lot of stuff.
No.
I'd like to talk.
I wanna
Gather them all
I want to
up.
do team building events.
Yeah.
I want everyone to talk about their favorite and least favorite part of the day.
Yeah, it's gonna be just one video
bus
for Instagram.
together. I
That's
want
it.
everything
It's like
to
in
be
college
uniform.
on your first day of class when you go
Yeah.
around telling two
So where
truths
are
and a
you
lie.
from?
Yeah.
Where are you from?
All
Tell
right,
us
what are
something
your
about you people
hobbies?
don't know. Yeah, that was one of my favorite days though, because it would be like I'd be sitting there and they're like, "Tell us where
Are
you're
you ki-
from." I'm like, "I've got this."
Are you kidding? I would walk out of class when they could say, "All right, tell."
I got all lies. I can't tell any truth.
When the professor says, "All right, we're gonna go around the room and tell us something interesting about yourself," I'm out.
You're out.
Are you kidding? I hate
you
that
have a-
so much.
Do you have a go-to
Wait,
fun
really?
fact though?
Unlock the passionate.
I
dude.
hate
Yeah.
this shit. It's like, dude, just teach. All right.
They're trying to build a community.
No, like
in
no
the
one's
classroom.
even showing up for class anyway. Just teach.
Stand and deliver.
I gotta give you two
Yeah.
truths and a lie.
Yeah.
No. I'm pissed
At
now
least
thinking
5
about this,
years for
and
that.
I'm pissed that you guys like that shit.
Well, you have to
I like
understand.
it. You get to know
No,
each
I'm
other.
talking purely in a college classroom perspective. As a young 19-year-old Australian, I enjoyed it because it would be you'd sit there and they'd be like, "I'm from Massachusetts." You'd be like, "I'm from Australia," and they'd be like, "Holy fuck, who is this?"
Wait, you
That's
went-
where I enjoyed it. But at Wake, we had to go to class because it was a private school, which I did not know the first semester. And my 12.5% in calculus did not really do well. Granted that I had to be in class. So, yeah, I mean, clearly they've just gone like, all right, 2 gold medalists.
Yeah.
You guys will be good. Let's fucking do this. You
Yeah.
guys are going to be the captains.
Yeah,
So
but
I
I wanna-
wonder how much time they spend with the team.
Yeah, I want to know if there was a popular vote. That's what I want to know. If the team, don't you feel like
Oh my
as
God, like
leaders,
grade
it
6.
should be people voted you in, you know? Like
Yeah.
they wanted them to represent. I feel like that should be how it is if it isn't.
Tell that to the Democrats. I'm just joking.
Don't slap me. I'm not from your country, man. That doesn't
All
fucking
right.
bother me. We're
getting
But
into it.
no, I agree, Karen. No, that's a great point.
You agree,
Karen. I really like
yes.
that. Yeah, you should
As
be
a
nominated in.
raging with a red hat on, I don't know if you can say
Yeah.
these things.
Like, yeah. Thank you, Karen.
What is embroidered on the back there?
Yeah. Oh, what is I'm fired up.
Yeah, you're up now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
Tell us 2 truths and a lie.
yeah, you've got a lot. You gotta have one go-to fun. You gotta have one go-to, like 2 truths and a lie. You don't.
No, I'm
you don't have
out.
a
No,
back
sober.
pocket
No, I'm
answer.
out. I'm walking out.
You're walking out. All right.
100%.
Well, someone that didn't walk out today and did show up was Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone in the 400-meter hurdles.
Yeah.
Same with Femke. She showed up. They both did 2 different heats. I think we love that. We didn't see a Jakob and Josh situation that we're going to see a little bit later today, where they put the 2 favorites
on this one.
in the same heat. From the TV screen, they looked pretty great. What I loved with Sydney is we saw her be a little inhuman out there. We saw her stumble a little bit on a hurdle. I think her cadence was a little off, going, like a handful seconds slower than she normally is. But I love that we saw a little bit, more of her stagger her way through, again, a victory. So for me, it was just showing her excellence once again.
Yeah, I mean, those 2 are in a league of their own. They really are. Like, there's never been a greater battle for bronze in Olympic history. Really, like it
That's a good way.
Yeah, I mean,
put it.
they just are, and it's interesting because like when we talk to the Aussies, like I don't know whether the heat sheet guys hate Australians, but we have pulled some absolutely fucking obscene heats to get through. Like both of our women, 2 separate women, were in Femke's heat and then Sydney's heat. Yesterday, our 100 women's had 2 times. She has to race Sha'Carri, so all this sort of stuff. But anyway, they really are in a league of their own. Both looked so smooth. Both looked so in control. Like, we are really in this amazing era of women's 400 meter hurdling, men's 400 meter hurdling as well.
Yeah.
But just like what we're seeing is just don't take it for granted. Like, do not for a second take for granted what we're witnessing out here. Loved Caitlin's take. I'm pointing at her because she's sitting right in front of me here last night on the amount of respect and the level of respect Femke Bol deserves versus what she gets given. It's actually crazy. Like, she's the second fastest woman in history. She's also the second woman to run under 51. She split 47 point last night. She's won multiple world championships. She's a world, indoor gold medalist as well. She's now an Olympic gold medalist, world championship gold medalist. So you look at that resume in any sort of conversation, it's like, she might be the GOAT. It's like unfortunate that right next to her and just in front of her is Sydney McLaughlin. So look, to back up from a 47 point last night and a gold medal, you know, very impressive. She did what she needed to do. She ran 53, which is like cruising for someone like Femke.
Does she have a day off tomorrow? Is the final tomorrow?
No, so I think there's a zhuzh.
There's a
tomorrow,
okay.
And then she gets a day off.
Yeah. So
I'm pretty sure.
what's kind of interesting about that is like she looked so good today. You did see Sydney like kind of stumble, like Karen said, stumble over a hurdle slightly, like not, it's, you know, barely stumbling. But Femke looked sharp. She looked sharp.
Yeah.
I bet that because we talked a lot about last night how the U.S. sprinters are not going to do something like the mixed 4x4 because they want to make sure, because they just don't care about it as much as an individual event. But I think like that event, I think that's going to be a benefit for Femke, like going into the semis and the final. Like, I think that she now has a gold medal, and the way she ran, you couldn't get a better gold medal, right?
No.
Like
In a relay?
in a relay,
Absolutely not. Yeah.
like coming from way
Anchoring.
behind,
Yeah.
anchoring, just a monster leg to
Yeah.
get the gold
Yeah.
medal. And so like now she's running, she's already not expected to win, right? Like people are already being like, look, this is the Sydney show.
Yeah.
And Femke is amazing, but like she's got no shot.
Mm-hmm.
I think running the mixed relay was the best move she could have done. I think it's just going to add to, and just, I think it was smart by her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
to your point, Eric, it's pretty crazy that, like, one, she's not the favorite. No one's expecting her to really win, but she just split a 47 on an anchor leg to come back from like 15 meters deep on the US.
Crazy.
And it's
Yeah.
like, okay, well, if there was any doubt in her own mind about her, like, maybe 400 meter hurdle PB coming from altitude, that's like, oh, no, this is for real. We're at sea level now in Paris. Like, we're at the Olympics, and I just did that here already. And so she's definitely in form, and she's definitely ready to go.
Well, this is also just adding to the stakes of it, right? Because we've got Sydney, who's, you know, the star here, solely like really giving all effort to the 400 meter hurdles. We've got Femke putting the country on her back, you know, dipping her toes in every event that they're probably going to let her do. And she's the underdog. So if she does win and gets victory over Sydney, I mean, it's like, it's even more insane given the feat and the journey the underdog had to take to get to the same result.
I think it's like Femke across this summer has actually raced incredibly well. Like, there was a conversation around, when she ran that 400 meter hurdle time, it's obviously at altitude and all that sort of stuff.
Wait, really quick,
there's
though,
an adjustment there.
With that, I know with altitude, so for those maybe who also are not in the know like me, I know for distance, obviously makes it tougher. At what sprint distance does it stop making it easier? Do we know?
Like around the 800.
Okay.
800 is kind of like loosely known. It's
That's
supposed
like
to
the
be
cut
level.
kind of,
Yeah, 800 is supposed to be. Yeah, it's like now anything over, it's a big disadvantage to be at altitude.
Okay.
Like 800 is like it's supposed to be kind of the even thing. I mean, to me, in my opinion, I would think that being at altitude for an 800 does not help at all. I mean, I would not think it would be good running an 800 at altitude.
This is where you get into like the crazy weeds of it, where
Yeah.
it's like multiple rounds, bad.
Yeah.
If it's a single race, good.
Yeah, I see what you're saying,
Or
yeah.
like doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
do you live there? Are you coming from sea level?
True,
Do you live
yeah.
higher?
There's lots
Do you,
of, yeah.
There's so many
lots
things
of
that come into
factors,
play
for sure.
So many nuances.
But like I think in Femke's case, it like was slightly beneficial to her.
Okay.
But
So that
like
was-
we've seen that she's clearly in shape to run that time, I think, anywhere.
Yeah.
Got it. No, and sorry to cut you off. I wanted to, that was more from my knowledge to understand even how impressive it was or wasn't. Then what's the controversy? So the hurdles, you're still getting a little bit of a benefit.
Yeah.
So that's why people were like, is it really an honest time?
Yeah, big time. And like it is an honest time. Like obviously, yes, there is a slight benefit of running at altitude, but you know, she's actually shadowed a lot of what Sydney's done this year. Like Femke's run a personal best across the 400 as well. She's won in the Diamond League. She's won consistently across Europe. She won at the European Championships. She's won an Olympic gold medal now. She's running 4x4s, 400s. Like there is nothing she hasn't done. And I think that the conversation should be far narrower than what it is in terms of like how competitive this final is going to be. Like, and I get it because Sydney is the GOAT of the event. Like it's not silly to say that. But right behind her is the second best we've ever seen. And sometimes I feel like the conversation gets blown out to like, it can only be a one-horse race. Mm-hmm. Athletes are human. Athletes have their days. Athletes don't have their days. And I'm not even saying it's going to take a day for Sydney not to be feeling herself for Femke to win. I genuinely do believe even both at their best, it's not out of the realm of possibility for Femke to go on to win the 400 hurdles. But it's going to be a show. And I think that, you know, we've talked about
Is it
world
going to
record.
take another world record
Well,
effort?
You think so?
I think it does, but I'm also of the opinion, just based off of these races, that this track is maybe not incredibly fast. It's a hell of a track, but maybe it's not that one of those like tracks where you're like, oh my god, every world record.
not the Monaco track, I'll tell you that.
Monaco, yeah. But you put the two fastest women of all time in one of the most highly anticipated matchups of all time in front of 80,000 people at the Olympic Games. Yeah, that's going to be a world record for sure.
Yeah, and Mitch, just to say that like Femke does have a shot. We've seen it. Femke's going to push Sydney.
Oh yeah.
And like we've seen Sydney, I want to say I distinctly remember it in Eugene in 22. Like when Sydney's running all out, that last hurdle can get you. It can get anybody. And especially I think in Eugene, like she didn't look like invincible over the last hurdle. And you just like, they're hurdles. You never know what's going to happen.
metaphor.
And I'm not saying that she's going to clip a hurdle or anything like that, but it's always a possibility for these athletes. It's always there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And with Femke there, potentially and likely pushing Sydney, anything can kind of happen.
Yeah.
Well, and to your point, Mitch, like, let's enjoy this as fans. We like the amount of pressure these two athletes must feel. I mean, we see it with Sydney. I think it's so easy to think she's invincible. You know, she does like very selectively select her races and where she wants to appear. I think she's very intentional. I think what I've seen from that is like a protective measure. I think the more you put yourself out there for the people, the more the people have to say and weigh in on something they don't know about necessarily. And so, you know, to your point, a world record may go down. We've got an incredible historic event coming up in the final there. Let's enjoy it. Let's celebrate, you know, these two athletes and what they're doing for the 400-meter women's event because it's incredible.
Yeah, something I tend to think sometimes about the difference between Sydney and Femke as well, and it was such a good point last night how Femke runs more races and all this sort of stuff, is that I feel like the expectation of Femke is that it would be it would be something for her to win, whereas the conversation around Sydney is like it would be something for her to lose.
Yeah.
And so when you run with this Femke attitude of like anything you do that's better than what we expect is amazing, you can run with freedom, you can run these rounds, you can run the 4x4, you can do these things because the expectation isn't for you to win the gold in the 400-meter hurdles. Whereas when you represent a country like America that has so much media, you're the face of a brand, you're the face of multiple brands, you're considered the GOAT, you're considered all these things. Let's say hypothetically Sydney is that last leg in the mixed 4x4 last night, right? And America wins, and for 3 days America's like, this is the best fucking thing ever. And you get to the 400-meter hurdles and she gets dusted. I guarantee you the first conversation would be, why the hell was Sydney McLaughlin running the mixed 4x4?
Yeah,
And so it's like,
of course.
there is no...
We'd be sitting here
I'd
saying
be
that.
saying that.
Like, what the hell?
It's not as important as Sydney. And now it's like, if we had Sydney, we probably would have won. So there's no perfect balance, and that comes with being the best. And I think that, it would be great to see Sydney do more things, but she has to be measured and protect. Like, we're even walking to the stadium today, and like Chris is talking to the Dutch fans, being like, how good was that from Femke? It's like, oh, so good. Can't believe we won gold. This is the best thing ever. When you have the expectations, like, oh, we expected to win gold.
Yeah.
So it's such a hard balance. We're blessed to watch Femke do what Femke does so consistently.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Sydney does have to have this level of protection because she is vulnerable to so much online chatter and media scrutiny and all this stuff if she doesn't exceed what everybody is expecting of her. That must be tough, but she handles it very well. And I think there's a very mutual respect between Femke and Sydney. I don't think that there's any animosity like we see in the men's 15 or anything
healthy.
like that. Like,
It's good.
It's healthy, and it's
Yeah.
the same in the men's 400 hurdles. Those three guys want to win.
Yeah.
But they all come out and they're like, why don't we just enjoy the fact that the three best ever are here?
Yeah.
And we're in that era, and let's just enjoy it. It's the same for the women's 400-meter hurdles.
Yeah.
So, yeah, both looked like they pissed it in, Eric.
They pissed it in,
pissed
Mitch.
it in, and it was
it's a lot
great to
going on.
watch.
Yeah. As a competitor, Eric, where do you want to be? Do you want to be on the offense or the defense? You know, between like Sydney and Femke, you're going into this big race. Where's the glory? Like, walk me through what you would prefer.
Well, like Mitch was just talking about, it is such a hard position to be in if you're someone like Sydney, where it's you either do what we expect, or which is still unbelievably hard, which is winning a gold medal. You either do what we expect or you lose, right? And so it is and that's what comes with being the very best. The very best ever, right? It's a level of greatness that's expected every single time you come out on the track, which eventually just becomes very daunting. I do think that it is it is easier if you're Femke to run where it's, look, I'm not expecting, of course, like Mitch was saying, no one's expecting me to win. Everyone's expecting me to get second. And so that's a much easier place mentally to be in. It just allows for you to run more free, run more relaxed. She's already got a gold medal this games, which is, fantastic. So yeah, that's an easier mentality to have going into a race. But when you're as talented, you would probably want to have Sydney's talent going into that race. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
If you had to pick. Well, an incredible morning that we saw. We're going to get to touching on what we're about to see for these evening sessions. We're going to do a little trivia, little three-question trivia.
Yes.
We're back.
I think we're still tied.
No, I think you're right.
No, you're
Are we
4.
up?
You're winning.
Hell
You're
yeah.
3. I think
Time to
I'm
be
2.
Eric.
There we go.
I think I'm 2.
Fuck.
But yes, we've got 3 questions on deck, and I'm having a lot of fun coming up with these. So get excited, guys.
I'm fired up.
Hands up again, or
Let's go.
Are we doing?
What do you prefer?
I think you say, if you know it, say it.
Just put it out. Okay.
I want to add in.
Scrap all of it. Yeah. Like, how about none of it?
I'm going to
Was that
add
an
in one element though, and it's going to be a phone a friend. So you get one lifeline. If you
It's
don't
midnight
know,
in Australia. It's fucking
Oh,
sucks.
the friend has to be
it's
here.
Paris.
Wake up,
no,
boys.
the friend has to be here. It has
No,
to
that's what I
be-
mean. Like,
Oh.
it's
Yeah.
like you got a walking track encyclopedia with Chris
Yeah.
Chavez.
He's not here.
Great. Well, no, but we got the
Oh, we
phone
can call
option.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah, you said he had to be in Paris, right?
No, they have to be in this house.
Well,
So it's got to be
getting
Mac,
more
it's
specific.
Kyle,
Caitlin, don't.
it's Caitlin,
don't.
and it's Jacob. So
When,
yeah,
you
we
say
got a
phone,
party.
when you say phone a friend, I'm
Yeah.
just gonna phone.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I bet my phone will know. Yeah.
My phone is my
My
friend.
best friend.
Google.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
It's
no
Google.
one I love
You
more
gonna
than my
scroll
phone.
up?
Oh my god.
Talk
I miss
to
my phone so
Google.
fucking much. It's crazy, dude.
Yeah,
Can I
you're
scroll on yours?
phoneless. You're admirable over
God,
there.
I miss my phone.
All right, stakes are on the line. Jacob's over there like he's not going to get
Jacob's
phoned.
put his
Watch
headphones
out.
in, he's like, don't fucking call me.
Don't call me. Give him the wrong answer.
Don't
Have a
ask
little
me a
fun. Throw a
question.
little spice. Say
Yeah.
something weird. All right, we've got question number 1. Norwegian swimmer Hendrik Christensen has made this dessert in the Olympic Village go viral. What is the dessert?
Oh, you putting your hand up now.
Yeah.
You just said we don't
I'm
want
trying
it.
to be polite. it felt wrong.
He's a guy of manners.
Chocolate muffins.
Wow. 1 point
Okay,
for
you've
Eric.
been deep scrolling. You've been on that fucking
Look,
thing.
I love my phone. I'll
You've
tell
been
you
on
that.
that thing.
Yeah.
Has
No, he's
anyone
gone viral.
Has anyone seen like Justin? Do you
Yeah.
guys know Justin, our photographer here? Justin Britton has tried one of the chocolate muffins.
How the fuck did he get one?
Shari at the photo shoot brought him a muffin.
It's so good. Like
I'm living the
I
wrong
bet
life in Paris.
the Norwegian the Norwegian dietitian's like, hey, would you mind not eating 12 chocolate muffins every single day before your event? He's like, can't help it.
Can't.
Like,
Have you had one?
First off, have you
fucking
had
had
it?
one? Yeah.
Second, have you seen how much attention I'm getting? It's
Look at the
awesome.
followers.
I'm bigger than you now. Yeah.
Right.
I'm too big.
Why am I taking it
Yeah.
seriously?
In fact,
Yeah.
you're fired.
Really?
Yeah.
Can we ever talk?
Hey, can I talk to
we
you
talk
outside?
outside? Yeah.
Never talk to me like that in front of the team again. I'm the
You're
muffin
gone.
man.
Yeah, you're gone.
I'm the muffin man now.
You're Don't talk to the muffin man like
talk to
that.
me like that.
Jeez.
You're walking on thin
Yeah.
ice.
You be a sous chef.
Yeah.
If you're interested, make yourself useful.
Could you also go out and fetch me maybe 3-ish chocolate muffins?
There's got to be a shortage
I'm
going
really
on.
impressed you knew that.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Thanks. I just looked at my phone. It's like, oh, he's eating a lot of fucking chocolate muffins.
That's a
I'll
lot of
log
muffins.
that in.
Yeah. Put that in the bank.
Oh, I'll never forget this. Good.
They're going by. Gabby Thomas had, I think, her mom try a muffin on camera, and that's going viral. There's like
You don't bring
derivatives
one
of
here?
the
I would
muffin
love to
man.
try one.
Oh, we
I
have
would
to
love to
try
try
it.
one.
Does anyone
If
have a
knows how to
connection?
get a chocolate
Yeah.
muffin, please bring it through. I
you
would love
please?
that. Y'all could bring one through
Yeah.
if you're watching.
Yeah.
Henrik,
Yeah,
any of the
come on.
Ingrid Britsons,
They
if you're
all like
watching.
Anyone.
Jakob tries one. He's like, oh my,
Yeah.
he wasn't lying.
Yeah.
These are
It's
about.
like, these are the
these
best
are
things I've ever
really
had.
dangerous.
These are the best things I've ever had.
Kerr's like,
Yeah.
get 50 of these delivered to his front door
Immediate.
every
Yeah.
single night.
Noah switches out the Yu-Gi-Oh for a muffin. He's like, I
Yeah.
don't.
Sending me these
Jakob's like,
muffins.
I might need to go a size up on the speed suit for the final.
Yeah.
Shit. These things hit. All right,
Oh
question
man,
2.
question 2. All
full
right,
line
not
quickly.
muffin themed, but Katie Ledecky won a gold medal in swimming, making her the most decorated gold medal athlete, an American female in Olympic history. How many golds does Katie Ledecky have?
6 individuals.
Golds.
Oh, gold. Yeah, I'm going gold.
Incorrect.
Fuck.
Incorrect.
Where does
Eric,
way
it's
to
on the
shoot,
line.
though.
It's on the line.
See, and I don't think he should get a point if he's closer. He has to get it.
Well, here's a okay, because I think you were racking up most of your points. You're closer. But sure, let's change rules now.
It's world abs.
Yeah.
We're at the Olympics. Fuck
7.
it.
7
Yeah.
golds.
Oh, I'm gonna be fuming if that's right.
The answer is 9.
She's pretty good.
She's really good.
That's 9.
So,
that's 9's a lot.
that's it.
That's
No,
a lot
no,
of medals.
No, look, I'm trying to be fair. I'm already
No,
crushing
take the
it.
point.
I'm
we-
Take
crushing
the point. No, take the
Gentlemen,
point.
what
Yeah.
have we learned? When you
Oh,
lose,
you get the point.
I win.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
that's right.
Yeah, come on.
Nice job,
Chivalry's
yeah.
not dead here. We've got 4, we've got 3,
God.
I think, and then we have 3.
I'm on 5.
Oh, you are
but,
on
like,
5 because you
yeah.
started with 4. We've
Yeah.
got 5, we've got 3, we've got 3.
Don't worry about it. I'm
Yeah.
gonna win anyway.
How does it know or feel to know, Mitchell? You're tied with me. That's just been freeloading, getting points.
Not great, but you know, I'm confident.
No one thought to phone me, by the way. I did say you could phone anyone in the room.
True.
And I've got the
Yeah.
answer. So I'm just saying. Anyway, question number 3. The
Thinking of
first
muffins.
Olympic Games took place in 77.6 BC. How many countries participated
That's
in the first
insane
Olympics?
that they were doing it. They've
Right.
been doing it for that long.
What do you think it was the same events or like boulder tossing?
I'd say different events.
I think breaking was there. Breakdancing was at the original Olympics.
Yeah.
They brought it,
It
back.
re-entered.
brought
They
it
didn't
back.
say it was gone.
That's the thing about those guys. They're actually dancing heaps. What the fuck would
What
it
was the
be?
question?
Well, yeah, what were the events?
I'm just thinking about some guy pulling up to the start line of the 776 BC Olympics with a pair of the new dragonflies.
yeah, it's like,
Like, what the fuck are
fuck
those?
did you get those?
Yeah.
It's like, wouldn't you like to know?
Are
Yeah.
you from the future?
Yeah.
He's like, no.
Yeah, I'm
Strap
They're
in,
way-
fellas,
yeah.
because if you're
Yeah.
barefoot,
I
this is
would-
gonna fucking suck.
If I was
This
from
is
the
gonna
future,
suck.
I
You're
wouldn't
gonna have
tell
an awful
you.
time. Well, what was the question?
Yeah, sorry.
sorry.
I want to give you a point if you remember the question. Who remembers it? If you get a point.
What were the events at
Oh,
the
wait,
original
wait,
Olympics?
No, that wasn't it.
Okay,
That
you
wasn't
weren't
it.
Honest to
listening.
God, what I thought it was.
Oh,
Eric, what
how
was
many
it?
countries were there?
A point for Eric. Yeah. Athletics,
giving away
baby.
points. Like, fuck.
That's a man who listens, and you get a point for that.
Yeah, it is. I'm a listener. How many countries were there?
Yeah. How
Gotta
many
be
countries?
hard to get there.
This is gonna be really tough.
hard to
Right,
get there.
right.
I'm gonna let you go first so that I can benefit off maybe.
Like, how many countries are there now? I'll say 24.
That's a nice number.
Oh,
It's a round number. It's good.
I can't imagine it would have been easy to get to the Olympic Games. In
I thought we were waiting on
796.
you.
yeah, that seems high.
Like, that's a lot of countries stopping wars. It's like, we're going. Get on the boat.
It's a great.
I'm going to say.
Wait, hold on.
Oh.
We don't know if that's right or not.
Yeah, no, but do I get. Oh,
gets-
fuck. Sorry. No, we don't know if he's right.
Oh,
Sorry.
yeah.
And it's incorrect.
Okay. I'm going to shoot
Too
low.
high. Yeah, I think I went high.
I'm going to go 10.
I think that's low.
Wow.
I think that's
I
low.
really want to give it to you because you were very close, but it's 14.
But I'm closer. So, yeah, we
Well,
don't
that
have
one
Yeah,
was
you get it.
very
no,
different.
Darren gets it. Because
Oh wait,
we were both
again.
wrong.
You're revoked. Listening card revoked.
Yeah,
He
damn
doesn't
it.
listen. He's
Yeah.
He's got selective
Right
hearing.
after I
No.
got my
you're back to
listening,
five.
right
You're
after,
back to five.
right after I got my
away.
listening
Yeah,
compliment.
and then
Yeah.
fucking straight went gone.
You were at
Mitch,
6.
you should hate these rules. You just gold medals are the only things that count. So
Yeah.
if you're dead on, that's the only thing that should count,
Yeah.
right? You're close. Silver,
Yeah,
silver
close
or
and
bronze
silver
doesn't
doesn't
matter.
count in terms of medal tally. So
yeah.
honest to God, I shouldn't be on the list.
I
Really. If
wanna-
we were doing it IOC wise, I'm way down, way down the list.
Yeah.
Crazy.
On a difficulty score, that one was tough. I want to give you the point.
I don't want hand
No,
me
you're-
points.
you're
If
getting a
that's the
handout
rules,
here.
That's the rules. I don't get the point.
Listening
Not a
point
participation
revoked.
generation
Back to
guy.
5. You're at 4.
That-
You were close.
Sometimes you gotta lose. So look,
You want to stay at 3?
yeah, I want to stay at 3.
All
If
right,
I
I'm
didn't
at
earn
4.
the points, I don't want them.
I'm
at
honestly
4.
devastated that I lost the listening card.
Good.
Really quickly.
It comes
Really?
with. It comes
Crazy
with.
quick. Yeah.
It comes with the shame you're feeling.
2 minutes.
That's
Yeah.
what it's supposed to feel
The
like.
highs and the lows of the
That's-
Olympic
yeah,
Games. I'll
it's
tell you
crazy,
that.
Is it not?
The highs and the lows. We do have Justin in the house, our only chocolate muffin eater. I don't know if he's here and he could give us a full review of what it was like.
Was that the last question?
That was the last question.
Because I got no points today.
We're
Yeah.
gonna roll it.
We're
We're
done
gonna
with
roll it
chocolate
on
muffins.
up. Who cares about those muffins
'em.
anyway? That's crazy. We've got an incredible evening session coming on up, guys. For the first time, the morning show crew is gonna be at the stadium. We are so excited. We
I'm
haven't
getting
been
kicked out.
immediately.
I can feel it
They're-
coming.
They're gonna ask him 2 truths and a lie, and there's gonna be like, I'm out. I'm
like,
getting
are
out
you-
of here.
I'm like, here you're doing that shit?
yeah, even here.
Can I get to my seat?
Can I get nice?
First of all,
seat?
can I just get to my seat,
Yeah,
please?
Jesus.
Guys,
Please.
Yeah, we're going to
I'm
meet
excited for
tonight.
you guys to be in the stadium because it feels like it's Chris and I just harping on about how cool the atmosphere
Yeah.
is, but you guys will have such a good time. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
but you don't. I mean, the atmosphere here is also
It's sick.
pretty nice in the
electric.
morning.
When I watched that video of Eric jumping up and down, I was jealous. I was like, well, that's probably where I'd want to be.
It was
Yeah.
good. we have a good thing going.
You
here.
have a
Me
really
and
good
Mac,
thing going.
Me and
yeah.
Mac
you
have
and
been.
You and Mac seem to have nailed the scheduling
Yeah.
of the game.
We have a
Your
really
days sound
good
incredible.
European routine in place right now.
It's-
Because you guys go to the morning,
Yeah, yeah.
the morning thing. Me and Mac have like an absolutely delightful morning to ourselves.
Yeah.
We just do our own thing. It's really nice. And then now, and we haven't been going to the we haven't been going to the after. It's just like at 10 o'clock we start watching the morning session on the TV. We're settling in with our coffees. It's a
sounds
great
good.
routine.
No, it sounds good.
You're slaving away, but in the best way possible. This, I feel like there should be gold medals awarded to like the content being produced and the mixed zone. You're going and commuting to the track and back to the Airbnb twice a day. You're doing literally the Lord's work out there. Is it wearing on you yet?
Not at all. Like it is. I am tired. Like I won't lie. Like I'm tired without a doubt. But I mean, it's been a. I mean, to get into an Olympic Games, like, yeah, it's like a dream come true. So I am tired, like because the shows do finish late, and then you're kind of rolling into the next morning, and like
They really do.
Yeah.
you're doing a whole bunch of things. But like I always try and keep this perspective. Like 2 years ago, I went to Eugene. And I had no accreditation, and I kind of flew over myself to just try and shape something. So I will take being in the mix zone and being able to do things over like hanging over a fence trying to grab an Australian, being like, "Can I get you for it?" And they're like, "Who the fuck is this?" Like, no, can you go away?
Fuck
So
off,
Can I
bud.
steal them for a sec?
yeah, it is a lot. Like it is a bit tiring, but
Yeah.
Nah, I hate it when I'm on the train. I'm like, I fucking hate this train. If one more guy touches me, I'm gonna snap.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like, you'll understand tonight. You go
Yeah, I
to
will.
you leave this
Yeah, we're gonna
stadium
get
and you're
it.
like, that was the best thing I've ever seen. And then you're like,
Well, I assaulted another guy on the train.
so I
Yeah.
won first, and that's the
Yeah.
problem.
What did
Guys,
he do?
I know that back in France.
He was brushing up against me.
Yeah, and I didn't like
Yeah.
it one bit. And I
Again.
told him to move, and he said, "I don't speak English," and I snapped. So I
He
apologized.
said, "I don't speak." Oh, you
That's
did.
all.
In English, he
in
said,
that
"I don't
situation,
speak."
I didn't
Yeah.
ask a question, did I?
I got
was like,
a belly
"Stop
full. I got a
fucking
belly full of
touching me."
chocolate muffin and a heart full of rage.
Yeah, and that's a dangerous combination. So
Yeah, maybe we'll
Yeah.
line bike it. Line
you
bikes.
guys will get to experience it all tonight.
The
avoid
line
some of
bike
that.
is fun. It is still kind of stressful. Look, we almost got separated on the line bikes. I was without a
No, we
phone, and I
did.
thought if I had to keep up with Chris Chavez, I go,
Yeah.
if I lose Chavez,
You're dead.
I
You're
am
done.
genuinely dead.
You're out.
I am dead.
You're
I would be-
phoneless.
I know our street name,
Yeah.
and I would just be like walking around to random people being like, I'm begging you to point me in the direction of our street. I lost Chris Chavez. At this point, I'd be
Right.
crying. For me to actually have to
Yeah.
approach a stranger asking for directions,
Yeah.
the state I'd have to be in mentally,
Yeah.
I would have had to been looking for a long time. A long
how
time.
long do you give yourself?
It'd be
before you-
dark. It'd be midnight, and
Yeah.
I'm like, look, I am begging you. I've been looking for
Please.
the street for roughly 8 hours. And then I'd be like, you know what? I think it's officially
it's
time
time.
to
I think it's
ask
time.
someone.
Yeah.
And
And then you'd be one of the guys on the train with Mitch, like just rubbing up, trying to get
Yeah,
close.
You'd bump me on the train and be like, is this guy fucking
look, I wouldn't be
serious?
able to get on the train. I got no phone. I got no wallet on me. I literally wouldn't be able to get on the train.
You can get into the train though if you went up to someone, you're like, can I walk through with you? They'll let you through.
But then you gotta get real close
For
up.
anyone in France, there you go. There's a way to get on
Is
the
this what
train.
you've been doing?
No, we've got a
Okay.
pass. But
Okay.
I did it on the first day because I didn't download the app, and then this guy was walking through. He's like, "Do you want to just come through with me?" I was like, "That sounds great, dude."
He
That's
asked
awesome."
you?
Yeah.
Then you sat next to him.
How did he know that you were without the app?
Oh, we went on a date after.
I was gonna say,
Yeah, no.
not adding up, Mitch.
No, I couldn't get through, and then
Yeah.
I think you could see like
He's like,
that
"This guy's
I
having a tough
He's like, this
time."
guy's having a stinker. Like
Yeah.
he's having a fucking
Yeah.
awful time, and he was like, "You want to just walk through with me?" I was like, "Thank you."
Look, I don't want to say you're inviting it, but if he got a little close to you on the train, I mean, you did accept an invitation.
The guy,
mean,
no,
well, yeah, I
the
see.
guy lets you in on
Yeah.
the train, accidentally rubs up against you,
Are you fucking
sleep in his
serious?
ass.
Yeah. Are you serious?
Yeah.
I know you did something nice for me earlier, and I appreciate that, but don't fucking touch me on the train. I'm not
Yeah.
having
I
that.
swear to God, one more
Yeah,
touch.
you
Oh my
breathe.
gosh.
Yeah.
Well, we're so excited to have this incredible experience to the track tonight where we're going to be to watch the kickoff of the men's 400 meters that we're going to see. First off, then it goes to the men's hundreds, the women's 8, the men's 15, and then we have a final on tap of the men's 100-meter final. That is
Jesus.
the
That's a
lineup.
huge day.
That's
What
a
a day to
night.
pick.
What a
Thank
day.
you,
What a
Mac.
Not.
Men's. Thank you,
Thank you,
Asics.
Mac, on,
Yeah.
on behalf of Asics.
Men's 100.
Who you got?
I mean, I'm obviously going with the Americans. Would love to see Fred Curley, Noah Lyles win. Kenny, like any of those. I mean, I do think, like, with how much hype Noah's been kind of putting out there, if he doesn't win,
Yeah,
you talked a whole lot of shit.
yeah.
But like it's not like this isn't a, like Sydney McLaughlin situation where she's a head like, the Jamaicans.
Yeah.
Kishane looks probably like if you were just going based off of the earlier races in this opening round, you'd say Kishane is the favorite.
Yeah.
I would I mean, Noah didn't even win his heat.
Yeah.
So
But possibly not, intentionally not win. Possibly.
I mean, no one intentionally
No.
loses in the 100. Like, no one's like, you know what? A win would be great, but coming in second after I talked a historic amount of shit would be good.
Sure. Sure.
But like, he did own. He was like, look, I liked actually how he talked in
He
the
addressed
in
it
the
well,
in
I
the
think.
in the press conferences. He's like, look, I underestimated my opponents, and that won't happen again.
Yeah.
I kind of liked how he did that instead of just like there's a lot of things you could say.
Yeah.
You can say, you know what, something felt off, but you can go a lot of different directions. I liked what he said, and he said, look, I'm not coming in second for any more races this meet. But man, he's got his work cut out for him tonight. The Jamaicans are they need
Begging
this bad
to win that gold.
Like man, after the women's 100, after Sharika pulled out of the women's 200, do they have anyone in the women's too?
Yeah,
They
they'll
do.
have some more women in there.
But I mean,
off
like,
the top of my head, I can't remember.
like
who, but
the best sprint nation in the world. Like they need.
Right.
Man, they're placing a lot of emphasis on Kashane to hopefully be the one to dethrone or take down Noah. But Fred looked great. I mean, I love Fred, big Fred fan over here. Man, it's just absolutely gonna be. I'm stoked we're gonna be there to see it.
yeah, it's going to be a great race, and it's honestly also equally as exciting are these semis because there's going to be world class guys that miss that final. So to even get there is going to be a march. Like we haven't even mentioned the defending Olympic champion Marcel Jacobs. He started to come into some more form. Simbini, Tobogo look good. Omanyala, Oblique of the Jamaicans as well. Kenny looked good. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we've rattled off about 11 names. There's 8 dudes who are going to stand on the final start line.
Wow.
And then it's a situation of like, okay, realistically, not everyone in that list can win a medal, but they can push and they can really like cause upsets or throw some stuff off for some people. So
What do you think to predict? Like, give me what's it going to take to win? Give me I want
think,
numbers.
Yeah, I reckon it's going to be 9-8.
Okay. I'm going to go faster. I think it's going to be fast.
You think 9-7?
I'm going to
Maybe
say
we should put some
9-7.
bets on it.
I'm going to say
Okay.
9-7. Yeah.
So 9-8.
I won't be shocked if
Yeah.
it's 9-7. I just think off the form of the year and
Yeah. No, I think 9-8 is
Noah was
safe.
low 9-8.
Yeah.
So too has can't even say his
Kashane.
name right now. Kashane
What's the world record?
9-5.
9-5-8.
9-6.
I think it's 9-5-8.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
go
9-5-8.
9-6, and I think we should put some bets on
I
it because
love
we've
that.
got.
I love
Load
that,
up
Gary.
odds. I'm on.
9-6.
I'm on.
You're
Yeah.
like, are
What
they
do
going to
you
get the world record? No, but barely missing it.
I'm on.
That's
I like
bold.
a little disappointment.
Yeah.
A little.
I'm like,
I'm happy to live in the 9-8s.
Okay.
Eric can
Yeah.
live in the 9-7s.
Sevens.
You can live in the 9-6s.
yeah.
I like
So
this.
if it's not your
let's get this
bracket
right.
of 10s,
Yeah.
because you still owe us a bet from when you, I think, fell over your own words, and then we
With Woody, no, I lucked out on that because what I wanted it to be was faster than 4. We're not
Oh
getting
yeah, you
into
did
this.
luck out on that. No, you did.
We
you
did, we did,
You're
we
right, you're
did.
right. Sorry.
All right.
So what? So what do you want? So what do you want to put up? Because
Yeah.
arguably you are risking the most.
Yeah,
9-6.
right. And,
so what do you want to?
That
put
is a
up?
very brave bet. I love that.
I love every
We're not
second
doing
of
it. You
for
guys.
your sake. Don't say a
Don't say
Zamboni.
Boney. Yeah, don't-
Okay, we're not doing a
Get that out of there.
Zamboni.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
ultimate Zamboni.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I will do a shotgun because that's something that I still need to
Done.
complete. I will
She's
do
never,
a shotgun.
You've never shotgunned a beer before.
Never shotgun. I've chugged
Yeah.
per the non-alcoholic
I'm
beer
on.
mile I did recently.
Yeah.
Shake
So
it,
the
shake
other
it.
2 people, if they're not,
Yeah.
if it doesn't exist in your 10th of a second, are
Yeah.
shotgunning a beer.
Yes. If I win, if I
Best
get
bet
my
ever.
bet,
Feeling so
you're
good.
shotgunning.
Yeah.
If anyone, whoever doesn't get it, is
So
shotgunning.
I'm either winning a bet or I'm shotgunning a beer.
Yeah, no.
You're winning
It's a
either way.
win-win here.
What a bet.
I can't wait.
stoked.
Yeah.
This is great.
It's exciting. We'll do it right here on the balcony.
Yeah,
It'll be
bloody
some
oath we
good
will.
stuff.
Bloody
But
oath.
How good Zach is
talking
bet.
about Marcel Jacobs though here, I know the
Does he
Netflix
medal?
doesn't. Yeah, that's another one.
I
that
think no.
You don't think he gets it?
I don't think he gets it.
really.
Yeah,
you don't think?
It's
Look,
so hard.
It's
to-
so like
yeah.
the names you just rattled off.
Yeah.
And he doesn't look nearly as sharp. I mean, he barely made it in.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Look, incredibly talented, incredibly handsome.
Mm-hmm.
But do
Beautiful
I
man.
think he's gonna make it on the podium with all these names?
Yeah.
No, I don't think he will.
It's interesting because if you flash back to Tokyo, same dialogue. Like no
Stupid handsome.
No, yeah,
Yeah.
hot as fuck.
Yeah.
Eric's like, who the hell
Who
is
the
that Italian
Yeah.
guy winning
Yeah.
the gold? It's like, huh, interesting. But nobody touted him as the eventual Olympic gold medalist.
Yeah, you're right.
Right.
You're absolutely
Even
right.
the-
Yeah.
his country didn't.
Right?
They
yeah,
went
exactly
crazy.
right. It was a great surprise. It was so cool for Italy because you
Yeah.
remember the men's high jump wasn't long after they had that beautiful like back-to-back golds. But I'm not suggesting that he's going to win, but I do think he's a guy that can jump out of the ground and shake things up. He was a European champion this year. He's followed a similar timeline to what he did in Tokyo. But I do think the company has elevated, and, you know, Fred was silver there. It's going to be...
What did it, because I guess, like, if, let's say it is a bit slower, I just don't think Jacobs right now is in the form to run a 9.7.
Well, so even like Max got the heats up here. Like, geez, look at that heat. So first two go through. You've got Simbini, Tobogo, Kenny B, Marcel Jacobs in heat 2. So 2 fastest times go from there. So real like,
And we
I
haven't
think
even
you're gonna
mentioned Kenny, and Kenny's looked just fantastic all year.
Fu
I
has
think
been chopping
I
it
think
up.
he will.
He'll be in the final.
I think he'll be in the final. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think he is going to medal in the 200. I feel like he looks so strong in the
agree with that.
200.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But again, like, this is a guy that absolutely could be on the podium tonight.
Right.
Like,
It's just so deep.
Akeem Blake as well.
Yeah.
is a
Are we
wild card.
seeing, we talked about this with the Netflix documentary. Are we seeing somewhat of this? I don't want to say Netflix curse because I hate like putting a curse on things that are cool like that. Are we seeing the key players who maybe didn't make the documentary? Like, do you think they're out there running for something, like a little bit of spite? Do you think having too much insight to an athlete's mentality is a disadvantage?
I mean, I don't. It's a good question, but like, I don't think in an Olympics you're thinking too much deeper other than like, I want to win. So I think all the external noise of like, if I got shafted from sprint or if I feel like I haven't had as much publicity, probably waits until you're done, because I just think you're so narrowed in on this, like proving people wrong. Yes. Because it's like, if you haven't been talked about, it's like, I want to go win that gold medal. And then when I do, I'm going to go off and I'm going to like sound off on all these people that didn't believe in me. So you should fully deserve to do it. But I think the laser blinkered focus is like, first of all, getting to that final for these guys who aren't being spoken about, to give themselves that shot of getting on a podium, give themselves a shot of potentially winning, because come finals time, and what is really going to set up how these athletes are feeling is how good these guys look now in the second round. How good does, Noah come out and prove a point of being like, I'm not going to be second again? Does he embarrass the field? And it's like, oh, we doubted the wrong guy. Like, he is actually out here to prove it. Is Fred going to take a step back from what was really impressive? Is Tobogo, he shut it down in the heats. Like, is he going to continue that into the... So the storylines, like, you get an hour and a half to really buy into them, because that's the separation between the semi and the final. That's what's going to set up this final. That's where the pundits are going to weigh in and be like, if you were a betting man, you wouldn't be putting $1 on until you see what happens in these semis. I know the odds fluctuate and all that sort of stuff, but there's just too much at stake that could go right or wrong to make a call on like who is even going to feature in this men's final outside of Noah, Jamaicans, and then that's about it.
Like, we're talking about like the Netflix curse of the, but there's only been one sprint final, and it's the women's 100. And Shelly-Ann Fraser didn't run. It's like, and
Sharika's not running, and Noah didn't have a great start. You know?
But like, it's a bit unfair to say.
I would say, if anything, it's just showcasing how difficult it is to stay healthy, like in this sport in general, and stay on top of it. Year after year. I would say it's a little like, you're way more prone to injury than golf.
Yeah.
In this sport, and you're not driving a car, you're like physically moving your body, and you have to be like in the best shape of any athlete ever in the history of mankind to compete for these medals. So of course these people get injured fairly frequently, and it's just really difficult to be in that peak fitness year after year after year after year. So I don't know, I don't think it's so much of a curse, but it's
and
just
this is
really hard.
And this is something that you see happen all the time with, like, you see it at the Olympic trials, for example, when NBC will really do these in-depth profiles on certain athletes that they think are going to win, and they put all their attention on, a few key players, and then somebody has the race of their life and wins, and they just have no idea what to do. And it's just like, that's how the sport is, right? Like, you can't cover everybody. It is so hard to, in the sprint series, we're covering the top players, and it's just very, like Mac is just saying, it's so hard to stay at the top. And what we love about the Olympics is an athlete like Julien Alfred, who people don't necessarily have winning, coming through and not just winning, but like dominating the women's 100. So that's what we love about it. And I think it's one of these things where you can't really have everything, right? We can't have Netflix covering every single athlete and then having major upsets. So it's just something that we're going to have to deal with.
Yeah, definitely. At this world
And
stage.
sometimes they just don't let you through the gate to go warm up.
Right.
Sometimes,
And then they just totally affect the
was the crew
entire
there? Was the
history of the sport. It's just that easy.
Want to know if it's going to be featured on season 2, if they're still following them, the hold up at the gate.
But they're just like, let me in.
yeah.
Let me warm up.
Yeah.
Nope.
The producers are like,
Good
what
luck.
the hell is going on?
Yeah. But what if they're like the Bachelor producers, where they like set this up to like make it look, they do that.
That's a great, no,
You
I
know
know.
what
It's
I
a
mean?
really good question.
I love a conspiracy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What
I
else
love
you
a
got?
conspiracy.
Wow. Well, moving on after,
Might tweet that.
we're going to see the men's 100 semi, and then the final at the end there. But in between that, we're going to see the women's 8. Did we touch on? I think I missed it. The men's 4. Did I black out?
You said it was happening.
I
You
said
did-
it was
you
happening.
did say it was
Okay,
happening.
we
You
didn't
said
we
it
didn't
was
go through
happening.
anything. I'm starting to feel like you, where everything's running together. But we do have to start off the PM sessions,
It's a
the
hell of a
men's
place to be.
400.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you're Americans, you're watching this pretty closely, right? I
Yeah.
mean, Quincy Hall has been on an absolute tear. And you know what? He's been on a tear all year long. He's built into it so well. First saw him in Stockholm. He then first saw him in Oslo, then rolled to Stockholm, then did the Olympic trials, and then obviously continues to just find form. Not even find form. Like, I love talking to Quincy because he's always, like, he doesn't get shaken at all. It doesn't get rattled at all. It doesn't change the way that he talks. Doesn't change his message. His message is like, man, I'm Quincy fucking Hall. Like, I know what I'm doing. This is how I run. This is who I am. Like, I don't know why people continuously ask, like, how does it feel to be running this fast? Like, well, I expect to run this fast. Like,
How does it feel to be running this
it's like,
slow
why are
to
you
you?
treating me like I shouldn't
Yeah.
be expecting to be this good?
Yeah.
And I feel like you roll in with that sort of confidence. He's infectious. He is going to have some company. He's going to have his work cut out for him. I can't even remember his name. The English guy. He's got 2 last names. Cannot remember it. Who? Hudson Smith. Thank you, Matty Hudson Smith. Yeah. Came out and absolutely bossed it in the last couple of weeks to be right alongside there. So it's going to be a really interesting final. But to talk on what we've already talked on, who is rusty, who is going to come out of the
And this
blocks
is another
flying,
event where
and
there's a repechage heat, right?
the Juge is here.
The judge, yeah.
The Zhuzh is back.
The Juge exists here. So, yeah, I mean, maybe we'll see a tactical Juge. Who knows? But look, 3 are going through in each heat. So,
Yeah.
you would expect that the big dogs, Big Reese Holder up against Quincy, that's a hell of a run.
3 going
On the
through.
Michael
inside
Norman.
shoulder, I love that. Michael Norman.
Yeah, Stephen Gardner.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
these are the guys that, I mean, I would expect
That's
all of them to
great.
make it
6?
through pretty handedly. Like, I
Yeah.
think this will be, it's like a hard shakeout for
Yeah.
the favorites.
Cool, Kirani James is still running.
It's amazing.
quick.
We were talking
Like,
about Kirani
literally
James the
fucking
other
sick
day.
that Kirani
Yeah,
James is still
it's
running
amazing.
quick. That's awesome.
In,
And
in an
also-
event like this, at it's just like the 400s. Maybe like when the pain at the end of a 400 gotta be. It's right
gotta
up
be the
there.
worst.
It's
Like-
like the 800 where it's
Yeah,
just like
no,
there's
I
not
agree.
a worse event
Yeah.
to do. And for him to still be doing this, like
Crazy.
at this level,
Yeah.
I mean, it's insane.
Crazy.
His resume is just unbelievable.
He's got Morales Williams in his head as well. So
Like
the
he was
guy who-
battling
Wow.
LaShawn Merritt.
Yeah.
Like what?
Well, Sean Merritt was that fucking good.
Yeah, LaShawn Merritt
What a
was
name
that
to
guy.
bring
Like,
up. Yeah.
it was and Kirani James is still. He's like
And now
LeBron.
he's got Quincy.
Like
Yeah.
he's like just like going through generations.
Yeah, he's just ripping through
incredibly
guys.
cool to watch. Like imagine if he could if he could medal. There's a B like literally
There's a
in
B
right
on
here.
your ear.
Don't you can't don't make it mad.
Oh, he did.
Yeah, no, he did.
I think it's the red hat.
Get these friends.
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
it's
yeah.
the red hat. They want. Okay. Anyway.
What's the I mean, there's got to be like if let's say like Kirani James medaled, like
Oh, that would be
the span of his
Crazy.
first
When-
to now, like when was his first
when was his
global
first medal?
outdoor medal? Like
Yeah.
it's got to be
Like-
at this point like decades ago.
oh, near on. It'd have to be like 2000
Yeah.
something. Surely, like,
yeah, I
not even an exaggeration.
like he was like he's 31.
Bullshit.
That's just cannot. We heard he's 31. That cannot be true.
aging like fine wine. That
Yeah.
man, let me tell you.
His first medal was
He's
2011.
so we went far off on that one.
Yeah, we were. Yeah, so he won gold in 2011.
Shit, he was good when he was young.
Yeah, wow.
Wow.
21. Well, I guess that's sprinting, right?
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Like with
Right.
That's
young
why we were
man.
talking about how amazing it is that Shelly-Ann's been
Yeah.
able to do what she's been able to do.
Wow.
That old
Yeah, man.
person.
I love watching
Yeah.
the 400. Yeah, like it's always such
Yeah.
an entertaining final. Like the most distinct one, obviously, that stands out will always be Wade Van Niekerk's one in Rio. But you know, it's a quality field. Michael
Yeah.
Norman, who you said was a guy we're hardly talking about, which is crazy to think given
Yeah.
the pedigree of Michael Norman.
And he was, you know, I think he said that he was banged up, not quite 100% healthy at the trials.
Yeah.
Has he raced since then? So he hasn't raced. Max
We've
shaking his
seen
head
him.
no. Hopefully he's 100% now.
Mm-hmm.
And since he hasn't raced, maybe we're going to see a little bit more of not quite at 100%, you know, shaking off a little bit of rust in this opening round today.
Yeah.
And because if he's at his best come that final, I mean, I think he's would be tough to beat.
Well, and they have 2 days off, I want to say, because the repechage round
Yeah.
is the Zhuge. I'm struggling. I'm trying. Is tomorrow. And then, so they're off, the people who don't, you know, who make it in the winners circle, and then they're off again, and then it's the final. So we're seeing someone like him and some of these athletes who maybe, like I think you said earlier on, like almost training through the heats and sharpening up. We're going to see some of those with a rest day, maybe see the benefit of
Julian
that.
Alfred is sick somewhere.
Yeah.
She's like, what the fuck?
She's like, what is this?
that's crazy.
2
Who-
hours of sleep.
Who do I need
Yeah.
to ride to get that?
Incredible.
No, it'd be good. It'd
Yeah.
be a good way to start the evening.
It's going to be so great. And then we'll move on over to the women's 800 meter. We saw a little taste of it. You know, I think the days are blending together. I think it was a couple days ago. You know, we saw some incredible performances from the women on the track. This is going to be, I think, the third, right, the second of three, right before the final here. I'd love to look at the heat sheets here and see what kind of stack up we got.
Yeah. Big shout out to Abby Caldwell, the first ever winner of a repechage round at the Olympic Games. You know, obviously no Americans in this, so I get to kind of nuff out. But yeah, I mean, obviously she's coming through the repechage, so I'm obviously very big realist that takes a lot out of you. But you know, she's a 158 runner. It's a field of 158s down to 155s. I personally, I'll be watching out for Abby, and I really hope she makes it through to the final. But I think, you know, Mary Moore, obviously world champion last year or 2 years ago, whenever it was. Her outside shoulder, though, is a story that everybody's talking about in Phoebe Gill, the young UK athlete. You know, we're talking about how good would the sweep be. Like this is really Phoebe Gill's final. To see if she can even make an Olympic final, like it's hard to fathom in the women's 800 to potentially have a 17-year-old British athlete make a final is a headline in and of itself. So, you know, if she can get through in this semi, it's the top two. So she's obviously going to have to follow Mary. But there's also some real talent in here. Gul Toppin, who Aisha talked about so much the other day, which was great to hear from her, the in-depth analysis of it. So good in her heat. So good really all year. And this is somebody that Mary Moore would be stepping on the line thinking like, all right, it's you and me. Like we're going to be duking this out. Whoever can come with us, come with us. But you would think that those two are the two that would get through automatically there on paper. bias in me says I hope Abby Caldwell's one of them.
Yeah. And so it's top 2 in the heats.
Top two,
Top
so top
two.
2, and then they'll find the 2 fastest across all 3.
Okay, so
fastest
now
little
we're
cues?
back
It
to
is small
we're back to
cues.
little cues.
Yeah.
I kind of like this, how it's how you get one repechage round, and now we're back to a couple
Yeah,
small
no, I
cues. I
agree.
think it's a good system.
Because then you're not getting rid of the old system
Yeah.
completely. Like
Yeah.
you've still
Yeah.
got elements where you can
Yeah.
be outside of that automatic spot and
Right.
and make it through.
The integrity of it, of the structure, is still there. But I'm so excited. Maybe even at the end of this, we do an analysis of who has made it out of these repechage rounds. I can't speak right now.
It's like now you're avoiding. You're
Yeah.
like, let me try
Out
and
of the
avoid
round.
saying repechage.
I'm really trying to avoid saying it. I'm struggling.
You're like, it's coming up.
Yeah, here we go.
It's coming up. I'm about to say it,
Yeah,
and I don't
know.
know
I'm
what
gonna
I'm
fuck it
gonna
up,
say.
and
I don't
like
even want
it.
to say losers heat, but
Yeah.
like it's the only thing that feels right
go
to
the
me.
zhuzh.
Yeah.
The zhuzh,
The
the
zhuzh,
repechage
the
round.
repechage.
It's a
The
bit
zhuzh.
now at this
Yeah.
point, but you're right. I'm gonna be excited to look back and
The
see.
repechage. The repechage.
Now you're showing off.
Repechage.
Look
You
at
used
now-
to be struggling
yeah.
with me.
Well, I miss.
Go
Yeah.
back to being stupid.
Yeah, did you
I
know?
don't like it.
Say it. Repechage.
Max
Okay.
put in front of us here heat 3. So this is
Passive aggressively. No, I'm kidding.
no, like I'm I've nailed the pronunciation of the zhuzh, so I'm out of that chat. But it's
Help me.
This third one. So now that the small cues are back, this is where now being in the third semi is so
True.
crucial,
Yeah,
because now
very
it's
good
like we
point.
get that complete opportunity
Yeah.
to not like. There's nothing better than being in the last heat of a 15-8 and you know what you need. So you can go into the race being like, all right, if I'm not going to be the top 2, I need to run faster than, let's say, hypothetically, I think it's going to be 157, like 5 probably, and maybe even quicker than
Well,
that.
is this
Wow.
so? It's 3. There's only 3 heats.
3 semis,
and this is
Yeah.
and then
Keely
this is
Hodgkins in the
Keely
last
Hodgkins
scene.
and
Yep.
Nia Akins,
So,
both in this one.
yeah.
In heat 3.
In heat 3. So for me as an observer, I could not be more rapt that Australia's Claudia Hollingsworth gets
Good for-
to run
yeah,
in
that's
this,
all- that's
in
great
this
for
heat.
her.
19 years old, 158 to her name. You get to run against Keely and Nia Akins. It's the first time the heat making lords have blessed an Australian in these rounds with a great opportunity. And as a young 19-year-old
Yeah.
and an ambitious, fearless, strong young 19-year-old, this is like the dream situation for her in that third semi. But I mean, Keely is just on a tear. Rich of me to say this, but put a thing in there or not have a thing in there, there was absolutely no guarantee. This is the thing around this conversation. There was no guarantee that a thing coming back and running her first race of the trials meant that she was going to win the Olympics again. When you
Right,
got Keely
right.
running 154s. So it was always going to be hard. Now Keely, like, I hate the conversation where it's like, oh, but the thing's not there. It's like you race who you race. Like, you can only race who's in front of you.
Yeah.
And this is going to be at one hell of an Olympic 800-meter final. Yes,
Right.
would have been great to have a thing there, but her work would have been cut out with the likes of
Yeah.
Keely and Mary
yeah.
and all these athletes.
Especially like a thing wasn't even healthy for like the
That's
whole
the
year.
thing, it was
her
So
first race.
it's like she, like, in the form that Keely's in right now. I mean, you would probably pick her as the favorite over a thing who hadn't been able to string together months of training at
Yeah.
all.
Right.
So yeah, I think it's important to just be like, it's like, look, the conversation we can't keep bringing people. It's just there's no point really bringing a thing up continually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at this point, and Keely is good enough that it's like, look, I'm here. Like the whole point of, and we've talked about this before, is one of the real struggles is just making it to the line healthy.
Absolutely.
And that's part of the sport. That's part of the best are the ones that are able to do it time and time again, year after year, especially like an Olympic year. So yeah, Keely is certainly now the one to be, is like it's her race to lose. And again, now that, like we've talked about it before with these other really the top athletes, that comes with pressure, and that comes with now you're in a position where it can be a bit tougher to race, where it's like, okay, like now a thing's out, you got to win, or you kind of didn't run well at all.
Which is so crazy.
Which is just
isn't it?
crazy.
Like crazy. It's such an elementary school view on like sport in the world in the Olympics, and you're acting like this isn't the peak of the peak, the best event in the world. And it's like, well, if so and so would have been there, it's like, that's pretty big on your couch.
Pretty
big comment on your couch.
Well,
you know?
we saw that with Sha'Carri in the 100. I mean, I think it would have been easy for her to say, oh, wow, Shelly's out, I'm in, and now there's no one in my way. But that's not what we're seeing. We're seeing, yes, keep players out of the game, but that's guaranteed to no one. That doesn't mean it's solidified. We're still going to see some incredible races out there, people running like it depends on it.
No, it's exciting. Like semis are so exciting. I mean, it's just this real. We saw it in the Juge, but it's like it's life or death. This is it. Your whole entire Olympic dream is on the line in these rounds. So I anticipate that the favorites will get through. I don't think they'll be. I don't think they're likely to slip out, but anything can happen. We've seen people get tripped. We see things happen in these races because it is argy-bargy. Elbows are out. Everybody wants space. I want to see. Well, this sounds crazy, but I want to see aggressive racing. Like don't just. Mac and I feel like, and we all talked about it at the trials. Like, there's nothing that really kind of like I don't understand more than people who just allow people to get through based on reputation or based on where they think they're going to be in a final. Like, don't let someone in on the rail. They have to go out the back like everybody else. It's like similar to the comment made yesterday by Noah, and he caught himself. He's like, I just thought they'd fall in line, but I was wrong. I'm not going to let that happen again. Similarly, in this 800-meter semis, if you're someone who's not a favorite, like, don't move out of the way. Elbows out. You're not going to get DQ'd unless you're doing something crazy. Like, put your elbows out. Hold your spot. This is the Olympic Games. This is your Olympic Games. Go and get it, because it's not going to be handed to you. So I'm pumped. I love the semis. And I'd love to see two Aussies in there.
Yeah.
I'd love to see two Aussies in that final.
I was going to say, your whole attitude is shifted.
You're happy.
Now that we got the
you're a fun
Aussies
guy.
back.
Who knew?
I'm pumped because this is a huge night for Australia, because I know it might not get spoken about, but our women's high jumpers as well go off. And this is like
maybe I won't beat the shit out of a random stranger on the train tonight.
Maybe I'll be in a good mood. Maybe I'll bump people.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll
Be aggressive. Hold your spot on the train.
Experience.
Come on.
Don't let him through because he's got a different jersey on. Fuck him.
I just love that you've just had an average woman's experience on a train, and you're like, I've been traumatized. I'm like, I've been having this my whole life.
I know. And Karen, I feel for you. I feel for you.
And womankind.
Yeah, I feel for women everywhere. It's not
Thank
right.
you.
Everyone's leering at you over here.
You're on your way to a listening card, Mitch. I'm excited.
I hate it. Yeah, I got Eric's listening card. He lost it.
Yeah, there's one. There's only one, and it floats between.
These things are open.
But I do think I probably will win it back at some point. I'm cocky that I can win it back.
I'm gonna not listen.
I mean, I'll let you know.
I'm doing my absolute best. But yeah, I'm pumped. This is a huge night for Australia. Our women's high jumpers. Eleanor was the previous world champion. Nicola was the world indoor champion this year. She was the Olympic silver medalist in 2021. We're ambitious.
Yeah.
We're ready to cheer these women on. Headlining such a strong contingent of women in sport for Australia. So I'm very, very excited for that. And look, you might not see me tonight because I'm hoping that I'm spending a lot of time in the mix zone waiting for them and to be able to have a conversation.
Are you trying to bail on Torch Talk? After he woke me up last night?
He just planted. He planted the seed.
Yeah, you see what he did there? Mac, take note of that, Mac. He's trying to bail on Torch Talk. Not on my watch.
Erica pulled in mid-REM cycle last night.
Beautiful, relaxing.
I
get back last night and he's like, you going on? It's like, oh, sorry, dude. You had a big fucking day, have you?
His non-verbals were like,
here drinking mini beers. You've had a hard fucking day, have you? Yeah, I'll get on. No worries.
This fucking guy, man.
Fuck this guy. Seriously.
Ray
looks
ridiculous. So here I am trying to sleep, getting fucking shaken awake violently. Hey, get on there. Talk. You gotta start talking. Sure. Where am I? I was just in mid-REM cycle dreaming.
Get up.
Yeah, like, oh yeah, talking about the 1500. Okay, sure. I guess. Oh, yeah. Oh, fuck. 12:45 p.m. Yeah, let's go. Sure. I'm like, does
on
Mitch have it covered? I feel like he's a good guy for it.
I
Yeah,
didn't
he's up
call
there.
you
He
out,
told
to
me
be
to.
fair,
he
I didn't
told-
call you
yeah,
in.
I know.
We did. We shook you like an 8-ball. We were like, give us something.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, just tap me. Don't like absolutely shake
Yeah.
me away.
For sure. It was violent. It was
What a
violent.
time. No,
Good
I'm
stuff.
excited.
No, it was good.
It was
Yeah, it was
great.
good.
But you were talking about tactics. You were talking about not letting the key players in just because they have, the big names
Yeah.
on them. The men's 1500, the last thing maybe we'll end with here, talking about for the evening sessions. Jakob is
Elbows
someone
out, lads.
that falls into that though. Jakob, I mean, watching his start in his prelim, it's like he missed the gun. Like he
Does
started.
he walk off the line again?
Dude,
Does he do it
he
again?
swings that dick
Yeah,
around.
he really does. Like that
Oh
thing
my
is in
God.
the breeze, isn't it?
Jesus
That
Christ,
thing
he
is,
lets
he's
that thing
he's
hang.
chopping
Wow.
that thing out there.
Oh my God.
Offering it. He could take off tonight.
Dude.
I mean, if
With
I'm
Josh?
Jakob, I'm it's funny because I
Josh, another huge cock out there.
Massive.
It is, like we were talking about last night when I was like mid sleep cycle that it would be fun to see them not rate like
Just
they get one, Jakob one heat, Josh another. It will be fun to see how they decide to go up against each other tonight. I would imagine Jakob is running
Maybe.
like
That's a great bet.
Jakob is. I think
He's
Jakob
walking
will
off the
walk
line
off
again.
the line.
Yeah.
A good moment would to see them both walk off the line, and they're like with Cole and Centro. Like reminiscing about them the last 100 of the trials in 2021.
Yeah.
They were coming down the line talking to each other. They should get off the line talking to each other.
Well, you know what's cool? Cole could be part of it because he's in there too.
he's in there too.
in it.
Three of them
He
are in
one
this
is
heat.
fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, but again, like I think all these. Wait, is this like the women's 8 where there's some small cues, or
No.
is it just top?
Raw
Just top
six.
6. Yeah,
Top 6, 2
Straight
heats.
up 6.
I expect Cole to make it through.
Yeah.
I think it's. I don't see why it would be anything very fast. Why would Jakob? Why would Josh make it fast? Cole's not like you might see Cole towards the front. He's not afraid to necessarily run from the front and just kind of get himself out of trouble. But I don't think he's going to be a guy that's going to be pushing it and making it a fast race. There's just the 15 is just. I mean, I'm biased. It's just such a good event. It's short enough for everyone's attention span. It's got all the excitement. And it's gonna be a barn burner. I hope everyone makes it through. I hope in the second heat Yard makes it through. And Hobbs. Like I think these like we haven't talked a whole lot about Hobbs.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
been Cole, everyone's when they talk about US, it's like Cole and Yard.
Yeah.
And with the way that Hobbs has looked since the trials, it's like this is a guy a young guy he can really medal. I mean, like
Yeah.
he came in second in the 800, PRing every single round.
Yeah.
What is he now? 143? Was he
Yeah.
a 140? He's a 143 like low
143
guy.
Took off 2 full
I mean,
seconds.
he this is a guy who, if he runs tactically, and his tactics have been pretty flawless
Right.
recently. So I would expect him to do exactly the same thing. Just like I don't know who's out in first, but you bet your ass he'll be out in second.
Yeah.
And just sit in second for the whole race. And I think hopefully he does the same exact thing tonight. Hopefully Yard looks a little bit better than he did in that opener.
Yeah.
And isn't ducking the line for 5th again.
Yeah. See, I think this is a great heat for Yard. I
Yeah, I
think
agree,
I'm
yeah.
so happy he's not in that first heat because we did see him look a little more tired than we've typically seen him. I think to get a little confidence boost here, to not be with the key players that he's constantly like third wheeling and being in the conversation. I think that's what we need for him to maybe get a little confidence boost into the final.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it is certainly a loaded first heat. Plenty of talent in this second. Tim Chariot's obviously there. Laros too. Nordis, Nagoose, Kessler. I mean, there's guys there that are going to make it really hard. But they're also guys that I think are a little bit separated from the rest of this field. So I kind of see that 6, to your point, really finding their rhythm and finding their form. I mean, I guess a great takeaway from it is the depth in men's 1500 meter running. Like, it's crazy that there's going to be so many guys that don't make this final that have run sub 332, which is wild. You think back, like, 7 years ago to like 2016, you'd be like, oh man, anyone who's running, you're a 332 guy. Like, if you're not making the final, that's surprising. Whereas here, it's like, yeah, man, it's probably might not be enough, which is crazy. And a shout out to all these guys for stepping up and really elevating the sport. But yeah, I mean, just stay out of trouble. Like, that's what a lot of these guys will be thinking now. Just stay out of trouble. Don't do anything silly. Don't do anything you don't have to do. Yeah, don't stand next to Laros. Let's try not to be horizontal. And yeah, maybe just put that guy on the inside lane.
Well, Laros switched up the tactics last. He was like, "Look, I'm just gonna get off the line slower. I'm not gonna jostle a whole lot in this opening 100. Like, a guy that we haven't talked about a lot because everyone is so fixated on Kerr and Jakob that we're like, Chariot is a guy that it's like he looking better and better each time you see him out there. He's got the experience, like the global medals. I think he is someone who definitely. And he's a guy who runs very similarly to Yared. Yeah. Like, he doesn't necessarily have the huge kicks, but he's so strong. He's even kind of got like a similar, big, long stride. Yep. Yard doesn't quite do the heel striking forward lean that Timmy C does, but they still kind of occupy that same space in terms of how they run. Chariot is not afraid to run hard, run from the front, make these races really hard. Like, I remember in London 2017, I think Chariot was the one. They ran like an absolutely insane last 1200, which you like. It's either a fast race or it's a fast last 800, fast last 6. Like, last 12 is an interesting because it's like you settle in for. You settle in for 300 meters and you're like, oh, okay, it's going to be a sit and kick. And then you're like, no, okay, never mind. Like, what the hell?
I misread that.
I misread that.
He's gone a mile out.
And like, that was all, I think that was all Chariot. Yeah. So it's going to be, I think he's someone who absolutely, and like, we're always saying like, it's, one or like, it's either between like Kerr and Ingebrigtsen, like 1-2, but it's like, like if it's a great spot for Chariot to be in. Like, he can sneak in there and like, who knows what he can finish. So I think like I really hope it's all the guys we've been mentioning can make it through cleanly. What's fun about it is that like there's a very good chance that they don't. Yeah. Like, it's just how good the field is. It's how tough it is to perform every single time. But man, we're gonna have a lot of fun out there watching it today.
Who takes it out in Heat 2 here? Because we've seen Hobbs hop in behind both Yared and maybe it's Chariot now. Like, we see him hop in like right behind and get that key spot. Who's he behind?
Man, it's like
this is really a heat made up of guys that do not want to lead, but also I really don't know. It's obviously definitely not going to be Hobbs. Definitely, I can't see it being Yared. I would be surprised. But maybe he does get towards the front a little bit better than what he did in the heats, just to avoid having to charge late. A Nordis type could be a guy that maybe finds himself towards the front, not with intention, but still he's a guy that likes to sit back and kick really hard in the last 200. So I'm kind of struggling. Call me crazy, but maybe it is someone like a Cathal Doyle who looked good yesterday in the repechage. He's clearly not going to outkick these guys.
Excited to see if any of the repechage guys are able to make it through.
Yeah, he could be a guy that just gets to the front. He's like, my best opportunity here is to maybe be near the front when the kick is made, and I'm going to hope that someone hasn't quite judged it as well, and I'm sixth. That could be a genuine tactic. What then happens is these guys get the benefit of being like, cool, I'm just going to sit off you and see what happens.
Yeah,
so
I could see it. I think it's going to be something like you see like a guy like Hawker will take the front and not necessarily push it, but he's just kind of staying out of trouble. He does that a lot in the on the U.S. level, it always works out for him because it's like, look, he's not pushing it, but he's just staying out of trouble, and I could see a guy like Chariot doing that, just being at the front and not necessarily taking it and making it a hard race from the start, but being like, look, I'm just gonna, he's like, him and Yard, they're guys with long strides that can get them into trouble. I mean, I can't remember a race where like a guy like Chariot's gone down, but I could see him being at the front and just kind of biding his time. Maybe he takes it and just starts gently winding it up from 800 out, 700 out, who knows, but. Certainly don't expect a guy like Kessler to do anything, and why would he? He's got probably one of the stronger kicks of the field, so I mean, it's going to be exciting.
It's going to be so exciting, and we're going to be there live in person, the Citius morning show here. Mitch has already been doing all the groundwork, so we're excited to join you. We're going to spectate. It's going to be so incredibly fun. We can't wait to give you even more of a recap of our experience tomorrow then on the morning show for day 4. This has been day 3 here.
But we'll be back for Torch Talk.
And we'll be back.
But maybe Mitch won't.
We'll all be back for Torch Talk, right?
We got him.
Can't do it without me.
We got him.
Yeah.
Verbally bounded. All right. Well, thank you guys once again for tuning in. We're having a blast. We hope you're having a blast. We've got some social media content coming out for you guys soon. This is my way of
you're hyped.
Yeah.
Look at what she's done. Yeah.
Aren't you guys
like
excited?
Yeah.
Don't you want to see it? It's going to be a letdown if you don't,
Well
right?
played. Honestly, well played.
Thank you.
Put it out there now.
I'm playing the long game.
We're silly if we don't put it out.
Always playing the long game. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you.
Smart
Au revoir.
See ya.